Okay.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drock Show.
Hello, everybody.
I,
It's
I,
me, Sad Mama Drop.
having uploaded Thriller Bark, I realized that we did an intro like once and then never again. Want to do it again? Hi, I'm Drock.
Hi, I'm Mama Drop. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello.
If you think Mama's happy based off the sound of her voice,
You'd be wrong.
this is gonna be a sad one. Hey, guys, I've never done this before. We haven't done this before. I am telling you what to do. Be nice to Mama. No tormenting. I'm on my best behavior today. I had thought about getting some clips to torment her with, like where the one where she says, if an author doesn't kill anyone, they're saving one to break you. None of that. No tormenting, no rudeness. We're nice today. Okay?
Oh my God. I told him earlier, I went in and saw Drop's Papa, and I said to him, I don't want to do this today. Nobody wants to listen to me cry for 4 straight hours.
To which I said, yeah, they do.
I was like, no.
Yeah. How are we doing?
No more
How's
donuts,
everybody?
you bad kids. No, you can put your donuts in there. It's okay. Let them have their dumb donuts.
Can we just
A
start off?
donut in the description.
I put a donut
And
in the ad because I thought it would generate controversy. I thought there'd be a lot of
yeah, and
comments.
it did. It
It
did.
did. I was right is the thing
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, you were right. It caused some controversy. But then I said to him, what the donuts? And why is there donuts? Blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, oh, don't worry about that. You haven't met that yet. And then I puzzled it out. And I was like, is it because Ace is a donut? And he was like, oh.
That's maybe why. That's maybe what it is.
It's like, what?
Hey, Lucky Lav, our editor, is rating us. I was on Lucky Lav's stream yesterday. Everyone should go watch that VOD. It was so much fun. Oh my god. Lucky Lav played Palia. I was in Lav City, so I was backseat gaming and hanging out. The energy was great. It was such a good stream. Everybody who likes Mom Piece should go watch it. Lav's amazing and is editing Sabaody. And Lav showed me their edit for the end of Sabaody, the closing segment. It is the funniest edit we've ever had. It made me laugh out loud, and I watched both times I watched it. I watched it twice. It's so good. Everyone should be hyped for this.
I am. You just can't tell because I'm not at hyped. I can't even believe. Can I just start with I'm already crying?
Hey,
My tissues.
you get a gold star.
I don't care.
Oh, no.
Oh, I knew it was coming and it didn't help.
You.
Oh.
What's the second gold star? This is not a gold star you want, huh?
No. Oh,
I'm
it's so ridiculous.
I'm tempted, chat. I want chat's opinion. I'm tempted to give a platinum star because Mama has been predicting in a series where no one had died yet. Or diamond star, sorry. Because Mama was predicting in a series where no one had died yet that Ace would die from literally the first episode we met Ace. Like,
I just never said it out loud to them, though.
yeah, you said it to me, though. It was literally not the first episode, because we saw him briefly in Drum Island, and before you knew anything about him, before you knew his name, when he was just a guy in a coat, you didn't say it. However, from the moment we actually met the guy, you've been predicting, and this is a series where no one was dying outside of a flashback. So I think, as sad as it is, you get your first diamond star here.
Oh, yay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I knew I knew, and I told you that I had it spoiled for me later when I already knew, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
there could be wrong, and I told you that, and you were like, yeah, we'll totally tell people, and we did in the last stream. And then you were like, and I'm trying to prove that it's wrong, but I've been guessing since day one that I met him and knew who he was, that he was gonna die. And then you were like, well, it's not necessarily, and I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Yeah, and then when it occurred, I was like, I knew it was going to be sad. Yes, Jelly, exactly. Like, I knew it was going to be sad, but the way it was done, I was like, oh my God, Oda, you masochistic jerk. Can't even believe how you did that. And I knew it had to happen. And I told you, like, when we talked to him in Alabasta, and he was like so smart and so charismatic and so followable, I was like, how are we gonna hype Luffy up as being the Pirate King when he has this as his brother? Like, there's no way they're gonna let him live.
It's
All right.
there's so many bits coming in. Oh my goodness, thank you guys. It's 1,000 bits, Aster Bomber? Oh my god, that's incredible.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
oh, my whole heart. I thank you, everyone. I've been trying to go into chat club for a minute, and then everyone else was on many years of dealing with it and in a very different place than me. So I was like, I'm not ready for this. I would piece back out.
Thank you guys so much for the bits. Chat is moving so much faster than I can keep up with.
I appreciate all of their love and support.
Oh.
I know, and I was like, is it helpful if you remember that it's a fictional character? And then I glared at him, and I was like, we have spent so much time with these characters, they start to become family, and you start to care about them in a way you didn't know you would care about fictional people. Said it's very different than when somebody dies in a movie or a book. Like, it's got a more lasting resonance.
I'll also say,
Yeah.
I've read a decent amount of manga, and I've been hurt by a lot of deaths. And, like, this one hurt me in a way that few series have, and I think it's because of so many aspects of Oda's writing, but more than anything, I think it's that, I'm probably gonna cry in a second, it's that I wasn't someone who immediately resonated with Ace. I think like half the fan base meets him and immediately loves him. Half the fan base is like, yeah, he's a cool dude. I was on the yeah, he's a cool dude side. So him dying for the sake of him didn't kill me that much. Oh my god, we just got given 10,000 bits by Stoned Irish 98. What? Thank you so much. Holy hell. Finish my thought. What killed me is we have seen Luffy endure everything the world could throw at him when it came to hurting him. We've seen him always dig deep, find strength, and keep going. And when Ace dies, we have to see Luffy broken. Like, someone who's been an unstoppable force of positivity and drive and ambition, who sees every problem as something he can fix, breaks, and that kills me.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. It's somebody said your notifications are loud. PS, but I don't know because I can't hear them anymore.
Yeah, I tuned down our subscriber notification, but we weren't getting a lot of bits back in the day, so I didn't think to turn down the volume on that.
Somebody said up here, and I never knew this was a thing because of where I come from, is that someone said that Oda didn't come up with the idea of killing Ace, but I don't think that's true because I knew that they were from I met him.
I've heard that, but I've never seen a source. What I have seen a source for is something we discover very early on in this arc, which is that Oda wasn't certain if Ace and Luffy were blood brothers for a while, and he also wasn't certain if they weren't going to be blood brothers, if Gold Roger should be Ace's father, and that was a kind of last minute thing.
That I could see. That I could totally see.
Like he had flirted with the idea that they weren't related by blood before, but who Ace's dad wasn't something he had settled on until shortly before it was revealed. Is something I have seen.
I want you to know that I'm sitting here and thinking of aspects this week and crying. Like I started to think about their life in the garbage dump.
Yeah. By the way, we're not actively. Some people, because it's not what we're talking about. Some people in chat haven't read the post-war arc or watched it. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. I promise. But I just thinking about how he saved. I need to be able to be smart, so I've got to pull it together. How he saved a bunch of Luffy's backstory to destroy us. You know, like I kept saying to you, like we know nothing about Luffy and we don't know anything about his backstory. Don't know who he is or what difficulties he came from, and he just keeps looking at things with so much positivity that I just keep wondering.
Guys, of course she was allowed to read ahead and read the post-war arc. How are you supposed to feel okay not reading it?
Exactly.
I'm not that cruel.
And so when I read that part, I thought like, oh, you evil, evil man. Like
okay, people are saying, by the way, we have to say it out loud. People are saying that apparently he had planned to kill Ace from his introduction, so you read it correctly.
Yeah.
It was just the Gold Roger son thing that was a later decision.
And I could see that the kill that he would make him Goldie Roger's child makes sense, because then there would be more reason to just kill him. Because why would you go? I kept saying, why would the government want to go to war and cause this war? This doesn't make sense. What makes it worth it? Well, finding out he's Goldie Rogers and they're willing to like hunt the earth for every last member of anything, it makes sense. Kill Ace.
Yep.
But I hate them, and I hope House falls on Flamingo, and I hate him with my whole soul.
What I love is that, God, we're skipping to the ending. We'll go through bit by bit as we go, but this war on Whitebeard's behalf and Luffy, this was a war to save Ace. The one that was Luffy's brother, and to Whitebeard was the next king of the pirates.
Yeah.
For Sengoku, this was a war to end Roger's era, to end the golden age of pirates and make things go back to the way they were before, to destroy the dreams of pirates. Both of them failed. Neither of them succeeded. The golden age of pirates was made worse than ever, and Ace died.
Yes, and that's what we talked about before. So it had the exact opposite. Thank you so much, Paladin. That's amazing. It had the exact opposite impact that he was hoping. And,
oh my God.
And in the end, everything is completely worse for them and complete pirates. So stick that up your nose and rotate.
Something tells me, this might be a hunch, that you are not a big fan of Mr. Sengoku the Buddha.
Let me just think about that. No. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Fan of Mr. Sendo. And I know that I can see that a lot of people would be like, he's great for this reason and he's good for the story for this reason. And may I counter with, yeah, he put Ace up for execution, and I hope he dies a slow and painful death.
What I like about Sengoku is he genuinely is someone who thinks he's the good guy. Like, he thinks he's doing the right thing at every turn.
Yeah, and just a minute, I don't know if anyone else has had the pleasure of the 30-day cough, but I'm on day 12 of the 30-day cough.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be me. Yeah, the thing about him, I'm sorry, I was thinking about him and the killing of the ace and the how he thinks he's doing everything right the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just reminds me that anybody who's in power and thinks they're doing things for the right reason, like how many times do you have to check yourself and say that thing that so many times we see in fiction which mirrors real life? Am I the bad guy? Like how many Nazis knew that they were the bad guy? And how many people who are oppressing others see themselves as being bad? We don't see ourselves as being bad, but regardless of whether he sees himself as being bad, I just want him to know I see him as being bad, and I do hope he dies a slow and painful death.
And Sengoku's a guy who comes out here being like, we're doing the right thing, we're ending the golden age of pirates.
Yeah.
I'm so committed to that. I'm pissed off you survived because of that time I killed dozens of babies and pregnant women. And I still didn't manage to kill you. Like, it's okay. This arc is the moment I started to love Garp. This is when Garp hit top 10 for me. Because Garp is not like Sengoku. He questions if he's doing the right thing. He actually thinks about it. And when Luffy is charging up to save Ace, and Garp comes down because he has to, but you can see that he can't bring himself to stop Luffy because he wants him to save Ace, and he just
because he allows himself to get hit. And I was watching that part and thinking how hard it was to be Garp in that time.
Yeah, where he wants more than anything for Ace to be saved.
Yeah, like it was his dream that Luffy could achieve. Yeah. Oh, should we go through this in any kind of a,
I think we should. Order? I think we have to. God. It hurts me. By the way,
this is so terrible. I have never been angrier at you in a long time. Not since you chucked rocks over the fence and destroyed that woman's brand new car when you were tiny. Like, how dare he? How dare he make me read this?
It's really good, though.
Oh, God.
It couldn't make you feel this much if it wasn't this good.
Oh, my God.
We don't need to talk about the car story. Don't worry about it.
Just know that he was a rotten kid. He chucked rocks over a fence, and it made a neat sound, he and his friends, when he was a little kid. His sister said, I tried to, but I'm too little. My rocks wouldn't go over.
Oh, thank you, Blue Dragonfly. Oh,
and
man.
So they kept chucking rocks over and over a fence, and it made a neat sound. But the neat sound was it hitting a woman's car and destroying it. A brand new car she'd owned for 6 hours.
We're just gonna keep
going.
Level 10? We'll move on. We're a level 10 hype train. We also had over 600 viewers for a second there. That is the highest we've ever had. Garp gets so much hate and people have zero compassion for duty, honor, moral code versus family and how difficult of a decision that is. I fully agree. Like, Garp did not raise these kids well. He made them strong. That's the one thing he succeeded at, was raising strong kids. But he did not raise them to follow his values. He wanted to, but he is being faced with his failure by the fact that Luffy wouldn't be fighting the government and Ace wouldn't be captured if they had ended up the way he wanted them. And he is having to face how badly he failed in Luffy causing problems and Ace being killed. And if he stops them, he becomes a pirate. He becomes a criminal and loses
criminal, not a pirate.
Yeah, he becomes a criminal and loses the ability to do good the way he's been doing for his whole career. He loses all the power and authority he's worked his whole life for to make the world better. And he is stuck in a decision of, do I protect these sons who I've failed, or do I protect the government I've given everything for? Garp is put in the hardest fucking situation. 621, oh my god. Lower the volume for bits, great idea. You talk, I'm gonna go to my dashboard.
Okay. So, I think that when I'm trying to think about what it is that people love about this arc so much, because you got to start to ask yourself, like, what makes people love an arc where in the arc, one of the most beloved characters is killed. And I know that there's a few different pieces, like we talked about. We have all sorts
Oh,
characters
you
are
cut out.
showing up
You cut
all
out
at
for a
the same
second there.
place. Oh, am I?
Yeah.
We have all the main characters showing up all at the same place. We have all these interesting things happening, and we're finding out a true scope of the world in a much bigger way. Like we're finding out what the populace is like and what people are doing. Like the idea that there's a type of closed circuit television that they use snails to do closed circuit television and streaming was kind of amazing. But it's also like you can feel when you're reading this that he was doing a culmination of something very important before he was switching. And I had had the word said by accident, but skip. People had said it in all sorts of ways, and so in the
You
back
cut
of my
out there,
head,
so I'll just clarify. Time skip was the words.
yeah. Why am I cutting out?
I don't know. Just happens sometimes.
I don't like that for us. I'm going to put it up here. There we go. And so I knew as soon as I was reading this, I knew, okay, this is where the time skip is going to be. We're going to skip after this. And I don't know what that looks like. And I won't talk about it because some people aren't caught up. But I immediately said to myself, yeah, this is it. Because this is such a freaking culmination of so many things. And they're going to answer questions and they're going to cause bigger problems and they're going to change everything. And then sure enough, an absolute ballistic change.
It's
absolutely ballistic.
This arc is an accomplishment of writing because we have the culmination of every force in the world we've had built up coming together. Each of them comes in with their own motivation, their own character. We have the conclusion of arcs. Background characters we've barely interacted with up to this point come in with the culmination of a character arc we didn't notice.
Yeah.
All of them come together for a perfect crescendo to every bit of tension that's built up through the first half of the series. And it perfectly sets up the rest of the series at the same time. Doing all of that at once is incredible writing.
It's important to note, like when you say sets up the rest of the series at the same time, it's story plot. It sets up a change of tone, and that's difficult to do. Like it says to you, here's the tone you've been reading, and you're about to read the second section in a completely different tone. Thank you so much, Paladin. That's your second time giving subs to everyone. God, that Paladin, is just ridiculously kind. Thank you so much. Yeah, and so, and oh my God, did I tell you I already had like one of the worst weeks ever in the history of ever?
Yeah.
As a human being?
Yeah, like, just in your human life.
Just in my human life?
I'm gonna need to do some facial structure.
Over yourself? All of, that was so sweet. All of my, is it cutting out? Am I cutting?
Every once in a while. I think we just gotta accept it. I think, honestly, because of the cold, there's more people indoors than normal, so I think bandwidth is a bit weak. My internet's not that great today either.
I hate that for everybody.
It's just the way it is. We can't make people go outside and stop using bandwidth, unfortunately.
Everybody go outside.
Like, for instance, if you're in BC, go outside.
I had, we have super cold weather here where we live right now, which is unusual, and it froze the line from my well to my house. So I have no water. Probably not going to have water for over a week. And then people try to steal our identity and money and call our bank and get all of our activities and then call Visa and then my Visa number on their, what's it called? Samsung wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a couple things happened, and it's just been one thing after another. And I said to somebody, and they were like, "Are you super, super sad?" No, we don't live in Washington. We're on Van Isle. And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm still more devastated about Ace. All this crap is happening, and I have some life that are super difficult and interesting that we're dealing with right now. But of the other things, I was like, I'm still crushed by Ace. That's how bad I know this is." I'm still crushed by Ace despite all this other stuff going on in my life.
It is wild when a story can still be impactful in your life when there's real world shit going on.
And I was like, oh my God, that is insane. Okay, let's start this. I told you.
Oh my God, the hype train is growing.
How I thought it was so interesting that they go around the world and show all the different areas that people are worried and waiting to see how this changes their entire life, because it will. You're talking about this battle and going to war with Whitebeard, and I knew that it was going to have to end the way it probably ended, with Whitebeard's death, because I thought to myself, like, if it doesn't end with Whitebeard's death, it ends with Whitebeard's vengeance. And if it
Yeah.
ends with Whitebeard's vengeance, it becomes a different story that goes having to follow Whitebeard and having to follow him do all of these things.
Early on, you felt that way. There was a point during the arc where you started to switch, where you're like, maybe he's so inspired by Luffy that he switches to a mentor role there, supporting Luffy, and he has a new thing to focus on instead of vengeance. So other options existed later on.
Yeah, sorry, I was coughing. I turned this off.
No
Yeah,
problem.
once I got to a certain point, I thought, like, okay, maybe he is going to be interested enough in who Luffy is, because he was so fascinated by Luffy and Luffy's need to save his brother that I thought, okay, well, maybe they do let him live and they just take him in the replace Ace. But I was like, that doesn't feel, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It doesn't feel right and good. And I if that's the direction they decided to go, because as much as Luffy's power, which we go through in here and talk about after we talked about it so many times, as much as the real thing that makes Luffy strong is that thing that Kumo was talking about when he was saying, like, he's definitely your son, Dragon. He has this ability to inspire such loyalty and strength out of his companions. And I was thinking that's so true. And then they talk about it right in here. Insane for those of you who have seen our impel down. How many things I talked about, and then boom, they just showed up here.
Because like so many things you talked about at Impel Down got brought up here. Because when Luffy was making his prison break crew, you were talking about how Luffy's ability to get people on his side and inspire people to help him was his power. That's what made him so impressive. And outright, Mihawk, your main man, says that in this arc.
And I was like, oh, look at that. And then I had talked about the power of people who are governing themselves. And it opens with who is it who does the whole speech about
that's
it's the person I hate.
Don Quixote do Flamingo. People love this speech, by the way. This is a popular speech in the fan base.
Yeah. What chapter is it on?
Oh boy, what a question, huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait to get there because we'll just move ahead.
Yeah.
So they do the entire reveal about Goldie Roger being Ace's dad. Damn, that is not something I predicted. So that one, I mean, kudos for you, dude, because that was just huge. To find out that Roger was Ace's son was mind-boggling.
That's one that I love, because if the interview is real, if the source I've seen is real on that one, and it was a last minute decision, what a sudden realization of an opportunity you have.
You know what I meant, people. Ace is Roger's son. Yeah, 100%. And then to see the way in which Luffy was raised with him and how they had to learn to be brothers, and how Ace was like, piss off. But it also felt like we were seeing the beginning of Luffy learning how to use one of his greatest powers, one of the strengths of a parent, his father, and getting people to love him in that really deep way. Because Ace is trying to push him away, and he's like, my friend, you are going to be my friend.
This is post-war, remember, we're not talking about it.
No, but they even do a little piece.
Oh, they do a little bit? Oh, I forgot that. Never mind.
Yeah,
Take it
you're
back.
going to raise him then, Dadam. What, are you serious? This is your new home. And he's so angry about it when Luffy goes there, and you can already see the beginning of him like being like, are you freaking kidding me? But you can already start to see that power emerging in Luffy, and I thought that was pretty cool, because I think in the end, one of the strongest things that Luffy is going to have, and Luffy is now, thank you so much, Paladin Berserker.
5,000? Oh my god, incredible. I did turn on the volume. I think it took.
One of the most important things that Luffy does, and the thing that's going to help him in the end, I'm going to talk about this now because I do what I want. Dear God, Paladin, the thing that's going to make it so that Luffy wins, gets the One Piece, does the winning in the end, is going to be Luffy's strength and friendships and his ability to create and have people want to be a part of Luffy's journey and his story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the most important part of it. Whereas Blackbeard is going to find that when he gets to the end, he has nothing left to give anyone. And therefore, I think that's what's going to make it so that Luffy wins and Blackbeard loses. And this is something you and I both talked about, because I said it's so important to hear these backstories and watch Luffy pull everyone in this fight who's battling to save Ace eventually finds themselves, and he's nothing. And that's really cool to get to see in this arc. We get to see how small Luffy is in this big wide world, that he's not the greatest be all end all, even bigger way than you could imagine. And so when you get to see how small he is, then you get to watch him go through this fight and one person after another person onto his side, including people who should be on the other side but fight on his behalf because of his strength of pulling people into wanting to help him. People talk about it in this arc. They highlight it. And I think that's super important, because I think that Oda is trying to set us up and say, one day we're going to come to a point where Blackbeard gets to the end. He has as much power as he can possibly get. And now he's trying to win the One Piece, and Luffy's trying to win the One Piece. But Blackbeard isn't going to have the support and the need that he has, because he's going to give out all the favors he can. People aren't going to support him anymore. They don't support him because they like him. They don't support him because they want to be part of his journey. They support him because he's getting them to what they want. Whereas Luffy has this ability to pull people on and make them want to be his friend, helper, his support. They actually want to watch him succeed. So when the two of them get to the end, there's going to be a very big difference between the people who want to
hype level 15
and the people. That's crazy. I don't know if we've got to this.
I think 14 was the highest we got.
We may killed.
Oh my
and the
goodness.
people who want to help Luffy and the people who are no longer have anything to gain from Blackbeard are going to just move away from him. And I think that's going to be team up for the win.
I fully agree. In my opinion, the story needs to be about how Blackbeard is the second best pirate, the second best, and that what makes Luffy different is that people care about him, not just what he can get them. But we'll talk about that more in the Blackbeard video coming soon. TM.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so much fun. I hate Blackbeard for so many reasons. We're watching the most important thing that we can see right now, and that's the ability to get to watch Luffy coming into not only some other powers, which we'll talk about in the next one, not in this one as much, but also we get to see Luffy using his skills right in front of us. We're watching him pull people onto his side and be like, God dang it, that kid has so much tenacity. I have to root for him. I have to help him, because he's going to come back no matter how many times it takes. This arc was pure Luffy. Ace died. He died because he acted like himself right to the end. And his need, which we'll get into, to be the way that he is, killed him. And why did Luffy succeed? Because Luffy did succeed. Luffy did his job. He saved Ace.
You had an observation that I loved about Ace's death and what it says about the two of them that when we reach there, I really want to dive into.
Okay. Luffy did his job and saved Ace. Ace then just kind of messed that job up. And so I think that it's really important to note that. Okay, but let's go through. When everyone is standing there and you have all the ships around, and all of a sudden there is a go bloop, 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 and come out from underneath.
Here, let's try. I think you should try leaving and re-entering. I'm going to try leaving and re-entering too, because you're cutting out more and more, and I think we got to try to reset it.
Oh, on just on here?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get out.
Okay, let's exit interview and re-enter. All right, hopefully this helps. It might just be the internet and we can't do anything. Boop. Thank you guys for pointing this out. Okay, you back?
I am back. Do you hear me?
I hear you. Hopefully it works better.
Okay.
692. We're almost at 700 viewers. Oh my goodness.
My baby Luffy. Okay. So when they bloop from underneath the ocean and pop up into the middle of the crescent moon, and let's just be reminded that this is a moon. So again, it's that dark and light thing. Luffy being the sun god, Marineford being a crescent moon, it being the night and the dark, is just too good of symbolism. I really love that.
Oh, it's perfect.
But having them pop up inside of one of the Sabaody bubbles, are you kidding me?
It was such a cool way to do it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Oh, somebody said they had trouble on their Discord today as well.
Okay, so it's just Discord servers. Sir, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're leaving this in to say everyone's having issues on Discord, and that's what we record through. So unfortunately, our audio is going to chop out a tiny bit. It's how it is. Sorry about it.
Maybe we can move around. Maybe we can move around it. Luffy fell from the sky, where's Whitebeard descended from below? Oh, yeah, I saw that part. When I saw Luffy being on top of the wave and frozen, and I was like, are they in from the sky? But I didn't think about the idea of Whitebeard coming from below. That's a really interesting point. And the Moby Dick, freaking Moby Dick.
It's a very cool boat.
So you explained to me how big it was, and what did you say? How many
I showed you a chart that first showed you how big the Sunny was compared to the Mary, and then I showed you that the Sunny compared to the Moby Dick looks even smaller than the Mary next to the Sunny.
Yeah, it was insane. I had no... Oh, delete your art!
You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it. This is trash. I need to start over. At the very least... That was really... At the very least, I need to start over this layer. This is... The anatomy's jank. I was trying to figure it out, but that was going to slow us down. Let's do it. Let's go over.
Ooh, I love that for us. I love the frickin' Moby Dick. It might be one of my favorite ships, like, ever. The next time we do ships, I'm going to rank up the Moby Dick. I had no idea how cool it was.
Yeah. It's so cool and so big. I have to do push-ups. All right, I'll be back. You keep it going.
And what Moby Dick, not only the Moby Dick comes out in the beginning, but then to watch Whitebeard use his power, punch the sky, and create what becomes the tidal wave and rumbles through, so that you just have such a better idea of the level of power we're looking at with Whitebeard. That was, to me, like, talk about a frickin' entrance. Not only does he come in from underneath using his frickin' bubbles, then once he's on top, he punches the air, rumbles through, and creates this freaking huge tidal wave. And I was like, well, I guess that's one way to make an entrance. And then we get to a backstory, and we get to see Mama is in between the references to the Moby Dick and Whitebeard being the ship's captain is backing the wrong candidate for Pirate King, a doomed quest.
Ooh.
It's an interesting question that I think we should kind of look at a little bit more, with the idea of the Bellamy is out for a walk, with the idea of it being like a failed adventure, because I kept trying to ask Beard's adventure was a failure, and here's why. Oh God, no, I'm not going to cry. Pull it together.
Hey, real quick, Sterling said they're going to match me for push-ups. If anyone else wants to, let's do it. Let's challenge each other. I'm down. Let's have buddies. All right, back to it. Okay,
because Whitebeard has that throwback where it talks about who he is and who he was and what he wanted to be. Thank you, Semi-Solids. And it says all he wanted to be in the beginning was a son, was a father. And so, is it a failed voyage if in the end, he is surrounded by all these people who call him father, who he calls son, who love him with their whole heart? They call him Pops. He is their dad. Ace said right up to his death, my father is Whitebeard. And I think that he was a good dad because he was the dad to these particular people. Would he be a good dad for the average human being? Oh, hell no. Because he's a pirate. He is one of the most important pirates. But he isn't a dad to them. He's a to people who are like him. And he is necessary because there are people like Ace and Pineapple Head Mark who were looking to have a father figure but just didn't know it, and obviously didn't have somebody in their life who loved them enough and loved him in that way, because that's what Whitebeard found. Is he found the Lost Boys. It was like it was Peter Pan, and instead of the Lost Boys running around alone in the woods, he said, why don't you come over here? I'll make sure you have food, I'll make sure you have adventures, and I'll take care of you and love you. And so he was the Pops of the Lost Boys. So I absolutely don't think that he ended up losing. And even though he wasn't the Pirate King, because he said earlier that wasn't actually his real goal. His real goal was to be a father, and succeeded at that.
I think that's beautiful.
I think people could argue and talk about blah blah blah, but I really do feel like, to me, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. Interesting that he was going to put his heart behind Ace. I could see that he would put his heart behind Ace, which is why for the story there was more reason why Ace couldn't live, right? Because if Whitebeard backed Ace and Ace went on the Pirate King, that puts Luffy and Ace at odds with each other. And I think, knowing their backstory, I wonder what that would have looked like.
But also, I think, and we'll get to your observations here later, but I think because Ace was backed by one of the great pirates, he could never end up having what it takes to be the king of the pirates.
And I agreed, because I told you why I agreed.
Oh yeah,
already.
you're where this came from. I'm just setting it up. I'm setting you up. I'm teeing you up for later, so you can pull out the driver, hit it to the nets, hit it to the fences. What do you? There's a term. There's a term for when you go to a driving range and you're really good, like smacking the nets or something. Someone will know. Yeah, sports.
Sport balling.
Sport balling. You know when you're sport balling?
And I'm teeing you up so you can sport ball to the max.
Yeah. I have to do push-ups. All right, okay. Keep going.
Or push-up. It's because there's, I'm so swinging for the fences, maybe out of the ballpark for sure. Good work, humans. You're sports balling it well. 4, 5. The other thing that I loved about the backstory that we see is and I think that this is so
easier
important
to find my earbuds when they could plug into my headphones, but now they can't.
Yeah. Really important thing about this backstory is we do learn that Whitebeard knew that Ace was Gold D. Roger's son. Super important, because otherwise this is like this shocking reveal, and then Whitebeard has to think to himself, oh, now that I know this, how does this affect my crew and blah. No, zero. Whitebeard already knew. And because he is the father of the Lost Boys, he's like, well, who's a more lost boy? In this era, name somebody who would be a more lost boy than the son of Gold D. Roger. It's him. And calls him. So I think that was such an important background, and I could see why Ace, his absolute loyalty. So why can't you just abandon me to my fate? I brought my...
Oh, no. You cut out there. What you were saying is lost.
Is it here?
Let's try again. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Why can't you just abandon me to my fate? I brought this on myself. No. I sent you on that mission, my son. That's not true. Stop talking nonsense. You tried to stop me. I ordered him to go, right, Mark? Anyone who lays a hand on one of us will suffer the consequences. We'll make sure those responsible pay for it, Ace. Just you wait. We're coming to save you. That is such a good line. I sent you here.
Ooh, I'm gonna go check up. Someone said there might be a solution to it. Voice recognition? No, it's not voice recognition. Apparently someone had this issue on a call earlier. It's just that it's cutting out, I'm pretty sure. Unfortunately.
I have an idea.
You have an idea?
I just have one idea.
Okay.
I'm gonna go into the Twitch on my iPad,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take the Twitch off of my computer and
That might
see if
help.
it speeds up. Yeah.
It's all good. We're using the same settings we normally do, so there should be no reason there's an issue. I think it's just that the internet's bad. Yesterday on Lucky Live stream, they've never had it cut out before. They've never had any issues, and it did, so I think that's just the situation we're in, unfortunately.
Oh, I wonder if it's having troubles in general.
I think it's just
Like,
yeah, I don't know. I think because I've had bad internet lately, it's just that because it's cold, more people are using internet than normal in the area.
yeah, I could probably agree with you on that because it is so cold here. It's cold everywhere right now.
Probably not Australia.
Thank you for that. I like that in this area that we're getting to find out just how little Luffy is and how big the world is and how crazy the players are in here.
So, can I go back to something from way earlier in
Yeah.
our read through where you were like,
Yeah.
I feel upset about, you said basically, I feel upset about the spoiler we got with Garp in the live action where Garp kicks Luffy's ass so easily because it feels like they're bringing something forward from the future where Garp's going to kick Luffy's ass easily, and I don't like the idea that he could still be beat up easily after he's been through so much. And we're kind of seeing that here. We're seeing that Luffy, despite all that he's been through, is still a small fish in this pond. But it feels right, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't feel upsetting that he's at this level still, because he doesn't feel insignificant. He just feels nowhere near the top.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think it was because I didn't have any idea of how deep the story was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Story was going to go, because I think it's one thing if the story is just depth, but this story isn't just depth. It only go deep and have this deep government and da 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 da. It also goes really wide. It encompasses so many different people and so many different abilities and places. So it's not just that we have layered government, layered citizens, layered this. It also is spread out across. So I couldn't have had any idea of just how crazy wide and deep this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I was upset by it, but I need not be. It works. It makes sense. It couldn't have been anything else.
The story needs to be this big, and unfortunately Luffy's not at that scale yet, and that's just where he is.
Maybe unfortunately, but also fortunately, because how boring would a story that's gone on, like at this time he'd been writing for 13 years.
Mm-hmm. So
how boring would a story be if when Luffy got to this point he was just like, I'm the biggest thing you've ever seen, and now I'm going to kick all of your. That wouldn't make sense. And why would we bother continuing to read? Are we just going to read for years and years while Luffy just mows down all his competition with ease? That makes sense at all. Mm-hmm. So, but at the same time, the reason that I think that this section is so impressive is, on one hand, they and
you how cut much out. What'd you say there?
How small Luffy is, mm-hmm. we get shown, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also get shown that we're right. He is special.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very difficult thing to do. Both show us how insignificant he is, and yet how significant he's going to become.
And I think that's exactly, we're getting at something here. What makes Oda so much different than a normal writer is that he can do two things that seem at odds at the same time. We've talked about it before with him hyping up two characters in the same scene, when in theory, they should be having to climb over each other and only one person comes out of exchange on top. We see him able to make an arc that is both a beginning and an end at the exact same time. And now, you've said it again, we see him explain that Luffy is small, but that he has so much potential at the same time and is special. He does things that seem like they should be entirely opposed at once, and it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it would have been really upsetting to find Luffy sitting there and showing up and everyone being like, "Oh my God, we just didn't have any idea how great this kid is. It turns out he's the best." No. Instead, he shows up and they're like, "What is this frickin' pipsqueak doing here?" Like, he just does not have the ability to stand with this crowd. And he doesn't. He doesn't. But he does a couple of things here. His tenacity, his personal strength, and more importantly, his ability to pull everybody on his absolute frickin' powerhouse, because he won't give up. So we're saying, yeah, his charisma. So what we're saying is that, yeah, for sure, he can't win. For sure, he's outclassed. But you can see his future, and it's going to be crazy. It's kind of like, look where he is. Remember this, because this isn't what the future is going to look like. And I had told you that I hoped somebody was going to teach him haki. There was going to be a montage, and then we were going to get to see him have all these strengths and da 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 da. Was thinking this because we not only is Luffy not trained fruit, because up until now he and his whole crew have just been kind of like toddling along through the world, taking things one thing at a time. Oh, it's a battle. Oh, we're having another battle. Oh, I'm learning one new thing about my my skill. Whereas instead, in this battle, he realizes, okay, that's bullshit. I've got to get my base up higher, and I've got to be stronger in a more sustained way. It can't just be suddenly finding strength out of nowhere. That's not going to work. I'm not going to win. And I'm not going to be able to protect myself or my crew. So I think that this was a genius piece of writing, as much as I just want to re-point out that I hate this.
Yeah, no, not your favorite to read, but it's craft-wise fucking brilliant.
100%.
Like,
so brilliant.
Like, it's a masterclass in setting up new expectations and in finishing a story and in building up your character and in putting him down all at the same time.
Yes, all at the same time.
But I think nothing hypes up Luffy more than what you talked about before, where he is successful, despite the fact that everything should say that he is meaningless here. He does briefly save Ace.
Oh, he fully saves Ace. Ace just unsaves himself.
Yeah.
Which is rude.
Honestly, Ace, fucking run away, hey, dumb bitch, run away.
It was so disappointed.
We'll get to it.
Marco's fruit.
Yeah.
Wild.
You have met your first mythical Zoan and your first Zoan other than Chopper who can manipulate their fruit in more fine ways as a Zoan than just having a hybrid and a fully transformed form.
Which means that I think I'm right when I say that dragon can actually be a dragon, because he could have eaten a Zoan fruit that allows him to be a dragon.
Because now we know mythical animals are on the table.
Yeah. So now when I met Marco and I saw his fruit, I thought to myself, well then, I think dragon is going to be a dragon.
Okay.
Because he will have eaten a fruit that allows him to be a dragon. Yeah.
Marco's fruit is so fucking cool. Also, glad he's a little more handsome than he was last time.
I am too. Go do your push-ups. You get even more handsome.
Okay. I missed a push-ups. I'll be back. Whoop.
And I think that getting to see how powerful his Phoenix is, so it's not only just that he has this Phoenix power, it's that his Phoenix power is so unbelievably strong and absolutely like one of those skills that you're like, holy crap, how are people going to compete or fight against him?
Boop.
There, you're back.
I'm back.
Typical Buddha, but the Buddha is a weird one, right? For so many reasons. Like,
I mean,
is the Buddha weird because it's a Buddha? Yes, because why is there a in this world? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, a Buddha is an enlightened human, right? It's there was multiple Buddhas, and a Buddha is meant to be a human who has reached nirvana. However, I will say, When I was thinking of being rude this episode before I decided to be nice, I was going to put in your clip here where you said a devil fruit can't make someone a god, because his devil fruit literally does turn him into a divine being.
It's interesting too, because when I used to teach a lot of social studies, would have all sorts of debates over whether or not Buddha is a god.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would say, like, is Buddhism a real god, or is Buddha an enlightened human and therefore not claiming to be a god? So, yeah, I don't know. An interesting thing. But I don't see the Buddha on the same plate as I see a phoenix. They'd be like a unicorn fruit. Ooh, a unicorn fruit.
I mean, but there is a Buddha fruit, and it is a mythical zoan.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's mythical, but
human fruit model Buddha.
I now think that I would like a unicorn fruit.
Okay, not a Kirin.
Or a Pegasus unicorn. Maybe a Kirin. I don't know. I just really like the idea of getting to find Don Flamingo and putting my horn through his heart. That's all I'm saying.
Not a Don Quixote do Flamingo fan, huh?
No, I hate him, and I want to put my horn through his heart.
Okay, of course, very important.
The Great Eruption volcano hand. Holy shit! Seeing a hand like Luffy's, the way that Luffy does his third gear, his hand, but seeing it as like freaking lava hand. Holy shit! That is one hell of a weapon.
Akainu's devil fruit is fucking insane, because, like, while it doesn't have the mobility that Eneru's fruit has, it cranks up the asset it does have, which is constant threat of damage and injury just by being near you, to 11. Like, not only can he become intangible as a defense, but if you try to punch this motherfucker, he's now made of lava. That's wild. That's insane. You can't touch him.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's just, there's no words for the next level that is. What can beat fire? Lava. Lava can be fire. Oh, listen, Roxy, I would like to join Mama on the attack on Don Flamingo. I will invite you, and we will kill the crap out of him.
What are your thoughts on Mythical Zoan? Someone's asking.
What do you mean, what are my thoughts? What's not to like about Mythical Zoan?
I mean, you get to a transformation and you get Paramecia-style superpowers. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, like, it is the most ridiculous thing ever. You know when, I can't believe I'm making this comparison.
Okay.
Because now I feel like I may reveal myself to be more nerdy.
Okay.
But you know when warriors in D&D just had way too much strength?
Uh-huh.
And they walk in and are like, oh, I'm going to tank everything. I'm going to tank the tank of tanking. And oh, now I'm cooler. Oh, and they gave me more powers. That's what the Mythical Zoan feel like. They're like, hold my beer. I can fly.
I feel like
I can also do this.
I
also have fire.
I feel like not only did you just reveal that you were a huge nerd, but anyone who knows the history of WoW can figure out when you were a huge nerd based off of, like, well, when were warriors overpowered and then got a buff? Like, that could have only, I think that's only happened once to my knowledge. Now, I'm not the most in the loop, but
it also happens in other things too. Like, I remember you were talking in D&D about how they kept doing it with the, was it the hunter or the...
No, rangers suck in D&D. It's druids just keep getting better and better.
But there was something that you were like, keep giving it more and more things, and it's getting more and more ridiculous. Like, there's always that one thing where somebody just kind of falls in love with it, and they keep buffing it up, and you're like, holy crap, man. Being anything else is actually difficult now.
And someone also wants your thoughts on the Quake fruit.
Quake fruit is ridiculous, and I was thinking about what you were talking about when you were like, when are they going to do this again? Where was it? Where were we when somebody else made kind of like that quaking of the air thing? I didn't think that was Whitebeard. And see that again.
I can't remember anyone else quaking the air.
No, they like split the air with a punch or something.
I don't remember that. I mean, Whitebeard and Shanks together split the heavens.
Yeah, they're two punches together, and you were like, I was wondering when I was going to see it, but that was Whitebeard. Okay.
Yeah, but that wasn't his devil fruit power. That was because that was both of them doing something.
I also just want you to know that I see your cheekiness level because I was watching Thriller Bark and I was like, oh, I'm glad we don't have to meet oars in the everyday world nowadays. And you were like, yeah, it'd be terrible to meet oars, wouldn't it?
I forget all the moments I've been cheeky, so I'm glad you're finding them.
Yeah, and like, you little bugger.
But now he's a good boy. Well, sorry. Now he was a good boy.
Oars alive?
Do you know that? Do you know if he is?
In my heart, and a man only dies when he's forgotten.
And we do remember. That's great. That's great. 10 points. Okay, no more comments. Little Oars Jr.'s here.
I think Oars is alive, though.
Fucking Moria, Little Oars Jr. shows up and he's like, hey, I just lost one of those. Can you get that guy for me?
He's literally like dibs on his body.
Dibs on that corpse.
Oh my God, you disgusting piece of shit. I just think I can hate you no more because I'm at my maximum hatred for you. You managed to be more hateable.
Yeah, Straw Hat broke mine. I need a new one.
Watching the Oars friendship with Ace was really important for a couple of reasons. I'm going to say something that's only minorly controversial, but it's more reasons why I think Ace had to die as far as Oda was concerned, not as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Because Oars, watching Ace make him that fucking hat. Hey, no, pull it together. Pull it together. You got this.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Welcome, Armadillard. Watching Ace make him that hat. And Oars keeps sitting outside over and over again. And he's like, it keeps off the sun. And Ace is like, okay, buddy, you can come in. And he's like, I love how it keeps off the snow and it keeps off the rain. This. And he keeps talking about it. I was thinking that it's kind of incredible that Ace also had that power of Luffy-ness, that ability, his charisma and his genuineness draws people to him. So you really did have two very similar people in Ace and Luffy. But one of them is a lot smarter, which doesn't always help, if we're going to be honest, because I think sometimes not being smart is what makes Luffy successful, or not being thinky.
Yeah.
But watching him watching him inside of those moments made me realize that, yeah, you also had Ace be this amazing, charismatic character who everyone loved as soon as they meet them. Straw Hats meet him, love him. Oars meets him. He makes Oars this thing. Oars loves him. He pulls people onto his side really easily. And I kept thinking, like, yeah, of course, you can't have Ace continue to live because there's kind of a split vote there between who you want to see be the captain or the king of the pirates. It was, as I was watching that piece, I was like, you know what? You're doing a thing again where you're making me realize how important it is. Luffy is not standing next to Ace.
Yeah.
He's not standing next to Ace because Ace didn't do the living.
Oh.
Ace. Frickin' Ace. Okay, but Oars. Let's give Oars his time. What a good boy Oars is. I really, for some reason, feel like he could be alive because we didn't see his body at the end. He was taken away. And we already had such hard death. Had 2 confirmed deaths here, so it made me wonder if Oda was gonna, I don't know, throw us a frickin' bone and let us keep our good boy Oars to come back.
I feel like if he survived, he's probably an impel down.
Yeah, I was worried about that.
They do have space for a very big giant suddenly.
Oh my God. But didn't Whitebeard's crew say grab Oars' body or grab Oars at the end?
Oh, I forgot that. Okay, they might have got him.
No. Yeah, so I feel like he could be with his people because I'm pretty sure they said to connect to the pullers in on oars and pull them on.
I forgot that.
So I feel like oars all around. Ace, I'm coming to save you. Oars, go back. You're way too big of a target. Oars has cleared a path to the bay. Follow him. Oh, Oars just barging out in front and just saying, like, I'm so big, nobody can get me. So I believe while I'm on people that impressed me, how well my girl Hancock did at managing to keep it so people didn't know that she was not on their side. At the same time as she helped to save Luffy.
She helped Luffy without betraying her people.
Yeah, and so by doing that, she managed to keep her people safe, keep her status safe. She was instrumental to Luffy's success. I love that woman.
Hancock is a underrated character for her reliability as a leader. Like, she does put a lot of work into keeping her people safe by maintaining her status as a warlord.
Yeah, and she did amazing here. She absolutely, because anytime somebody came directly at him, Hancock would be like, I don't think so, MF, or you're not going to hurt my Luffy. But she would always do it in a way that came across as if she was fighting on their side, which was brilliant.
Someone said it's important to highlight that she turned a pacifista to stone. So it is worth noting that a robot servant is hornier than Luffy for Hancock.
Oh, that is true. And a bit weird.
Yep.
Thank you for that weird take. Hancock kick smoker, though.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, no, I actually had an observation that I want to make clear, that I actually think Hancock's ability to turn a pacifista to stone, for me, that my read was, when I read this as a first-time reader, oh my god, these must be clones that have been turned into cyborgs instead of just robots built from scratch, or else this would be impossible.
Yeah, my read on it is they couldn't be pure robots, because I was like, robots aren't turning to stone, period. Yeah. That's not happening.
So these are clones that are cyborgs, is my takeaway.
Yeah, they have to have human flesh in them in some way. Also, they not only have to have human flesh, there has to be humanity left in them, which gives me hope for Kuma in the future. I predict that in the future, the thing that has taken a hold of Kuma is going to be released in some way, and he's going to get to have his mind back for himself. Thank you very much,
now,
Ramble.
People are saying it was a kick. This is the other possibility, which I have thought about. It was a kick, not with her beam, and there's a chance that her kicks, when she physically contacts you, she doesn't need the horniness to be able to turn you to stone. That is also a possibility. Maybe. We don't know.
Either way, I think in the future, our Kuma is going to get to have some of his mind back.
Do we want to, now that we're talking about that, go into your thoughts you had about Kuma because before we started talking, on a call, you said that you think Kuma might end up having one of the saddest backstories.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that Kuma's backstory is going to be ever. So when you look at the fact that he obviously had deep friendship families, the way that... And then because we know that he was such good friends with Ivan, that Ivan stood there staring at him and saying, hey, why don't you recognize me? Look at me, Kuma. And so their friendship was literally so strong and so important that Ivan just refuses to believe that Kuma isn't on their side. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then he already had massive strength, and he already had purpose and felt like he was doing something good with his life. So for somebody who has purpose, friendship, love, and strength, why did he feel like he needed to be part of a government's pacifista and then have these clones with this ability made out of him? Mm-hmm. Well, he had to be blackmailed in some huge way. They had to either threaten people very, very important to him and say that if he agreed to do this thing, that they would leave him alone, or he's had to have someone taken from him who he was having released, or something like that. Because it makes absolutely no sense that Kuma would ever allow this to happen to him with all of these things. And so because of this, I think that Kuma, there is some backstory here of what the government has done to him and how they have convinced him to become the thing he has become. And when we find it out, crushing. Kuma's backstory is going to absolutely crush us. So, yeah, when I was watching Kuma, I was like, yeah, there is way, way more to this than meets the eye at this surface level.
All right.
Where am I? Coming from under. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I also think that in this arc is where Oda really starts to really get his black background. Like you told me, not a spoiler when we were in our very first episode, that he used a black background as an opportunity to tell you stories that are like absolutely horrible.
Yeah, because it's outside of present day, and it's him taking an opportunity to have something that doesn't influence the main story, and he can go brutal, and because it's a backstory or what or something like that.
Yeah. And so I thought, like, when I've been watching them, yeah, sometimes they're really sad, and sometimes we find out a bunch of information. But this one in particular, all the backstories he does in this arc that are in Black are insane. They're just insane. I can't get over, like, he gives us back that just decimates you. So I think that up until now, I was like, yeah, the black background ones are a little harder, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, Jesus, God, man. The learning to make the hat. It took Ace 3 tries to make that hat, but he kept burning up. What happens when somebody who's made of fire tries to weave straw? And he talks about how hard it was for him. And then when he finally gives it to him, what a big deal it was, and da 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 da. And then right after he does that, right after we see, Captain, what are you doing outside? It keeps the snow off me. I'm not even cold. Then we see Don Flamingo. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the last little while. So much fun, and takes off frickin' Oar's egg. Ugh.
Yeah, he does that.
He's really discovered the, and I'm going to say art, even though I hate him, of showing us something that is so personal and vulnerable. I'm noticing, like, it's like, oh, something that's a really vulnerable moment, a really beautiful moment, and then boom, as soon as he's done that, then he's like, and now I'm gonna kill, hurt, or maim that person in the next scene, so that it fully crushes your entire soul. And that's what I when I saw that moment and that happened to Oars, I was like, was Ace in this. I didn't know I was gonna lose Whitebeard, who I really just met in a real way in this arc, and then they're like, hey, look how great he is. And then suddenly this stupid piece of crap is taking him apart. Oh, God, I just hate him so much. Hate him, hate him, hate him.
Doflamingo's not a great dude. I needed to
read this in a color. I needed to read this in color, I think, because I think that there's... No.
Oh.
And I think that there's some kind of ability happening with Doflamingo, and I think that if I watch
it just happens and you don't really see it. They don't really show you what happens in any form.
Oh, okay.
He just does something.
Okay.
He does a little arm thing, and Oars' leg comes off.
And then to watch Oars in the one panel, you've got Ace, who is crying, snot's coming out of his nose, because that's Oda's favorite.
I mean, for what it's worth, I actually think it's a really good decision, and I wish more people did ugly cries, because it makes you feel worse. Like, it hits you harder to have someone be fully vulnerable, not trying to look pretty, and just fucking...
I will agree.
Yeah.
But to see Oars come up with the 3 skulls across his chest that reminded me so much of Ace's, and then reach his huge hand out towards Ace as he was going down, and have just that little moment where his hand is almost at Ace before he falls to the ground and is unable. And then Doflamingo goes, I can't get enough of this. Somebody said I just barely saw before I went over. Somebody said you have to admit he has such drip. No, I don't have to admit. I did put him high up, but now I'm putting him in a new category.
It's the same
Don
tier.
Flamingo is now in the same tier as the oyster chucking piece of crap, Pearl.
I know, but wait, but you had a tier you made for Spandam where you're like, he's dressed fine, but I can't like it. You made a tier for Spandam where you were like, his outfit is fine, but fuck him.
Yeah, you're right. That's where I'm putting him. Yeah, that's where it is. Can people look, because I can't, because my internet is bad and I can't have my thing go out now that I fixed it. Can you tell me what chapter it is that he does his big speech about who's evil and who's good, and let me know? Because I need to get into that chapter.
Right.
And
you are cutting out at least a little less now that you're saving bandwidth, so I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Oh, am I still cutting out a lot?
Less. Look, Discord's fucky today. We're doing what we can.
Okay. It is 5:56. Okay, so I'm going to go into 5:56. I think I was in there anyways. I am in there anyways. Okay, so that worked out really well for me. Okay, so when D Flamingo makes his speech, I don't know how many people were in Impel Down when we did that.
Yeah.
But this is the exact same thing that I said in Impel Down, and then his speech, and I was like, holy shit, this is basically the exact speech that Don Flamingo did, and I didn't even notice it.
Don Flamingo gave literally like the exact same speech you did about the One Piece world and how what is good is going to be determined by those with power.
Yeah. So in the speech, he says, Commander Atmos, are the pirates the bad guys? The Navy the good guys? Things like that change with the seasons. Kids who've never known peace and kids who've never known war have completely different ideas of right and wrong. It's the job of those at the top to decide what's good and evil. Right now, it could go either way. Justice will prevail. Of course it would, because the side of justice will be whichever side wins. And that's exactly what I had said when we were in Impel Down. And obviously, yeah. And that's what he was trying to say when we were in there. All think they're doing the right thing. All these people think that this is the very, very and they're right. And this is what it looks like to be the good guy. But you don't know what it looks like to be the good guy. Being the good guy means that you're at the top. Whoever's at the top gets to decide what is good and evil, which is really interesting because it's not necessarily true, right? Like, if you're looking at it philosophically, you know that there is an idea of an ultimate good and an ultimate bad. There are some things that are just ultimately not good. But if you have power, you get to decide how society looks at it and who will be punished for their actions. And therefore, whether you think it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, because you'll still be punished for things that the other side determines as evil. And so, for instance, we always do this, and I always do this because I'm certain that, the history is always written by the victor is obviously something someone like Oda is going to think about all the time, because he is a huge fan of history. And so when I was thinking about it, I was like, Oda is leaning really heavily into very hidden. Oh, you're doing push-ups apparently.
Oh, okay. Bye, everybody.
Very hidden, very different signs of World War II. The way that we talked about the comfort women, the way that we talked about the Nazi symbols on the different people inside of the prison, and all these other things. So it feels like, because Oda is making all of these very subtle references to World War II, that Oda is helping us remember this exact thing. You may think you understand what justice is, but you don't, because justice is whoever the powerful people decide it is. And that's why good guys. And that's why we throughout history have people go in different directions.
I think there's also something to be said that Sengoku's motivation is in theory something that in the real world we would agree with is good. He wants to demoralize pirates, the criminals who go around raiding people and killing people. And I genuinely do think that is what he wants to do here. That's why he's killing Ace. That's why he's defeating Whitebeard on television. All of this is to remove pirating from the world and protect people. However, he outright states that some of how he's gone about that involves killing babies and pregnant women. Like,
which I think you have to admit is just intrinsically bad.
Yeah, and he has a motivation we would agree with is in theory good. However, to highlight that it's a motivation that we only see that way because of like the perspective that pirates are bad because they're going against order. He highlights that the way he's done this in the past is literally killing babies.
Yeah. Like,
no,
and
I 100% agree with you saying you'd give Garp leeway, by the way, chatter, but not Sengoku, because Garp very clearly thinks about what he's doing and whether actions are good or evil, and it causes him stress and thinking, whereas Sengoku just has this plain view of pirates are bad.
Yeah. And it was funny because about how we have met good and bad people on both sides of the fence. We've met people who are good and in the government, people who are bad in the government. I must say, though, we've met less good people in the government than we have.
I think we've also met fewer good pirates than bad pirates.
But that's what I was about to say, is then we meet some of the pirates and they are absolute nasty pieces of crap, right? Mm-hmm. So you can see that this is one of the things that I said earlier, that I think that Luffy is going to cut through the lines of pirate, rebel, government, and he's just going to try to scoop up intrinsically good people. And intrinsically good people by trying to save someone or make life easier for me, that and not be causing pain or getting like, I don't know, genocide. The people who come toward helping you out on that are the people who, and so I think that there's going to be pirates who will run from that, and there's going to be pirates who will move towards it, and same with the government who will move towards it, government who will move away. And I think that's one of the things that's so cool here is that we are getting to see Luffy cut through lines, like whether Smoker likes it or not. He has respect for Luffy, and he has respect for what he's done. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. Okay, let's get to another area of heartbreak.
Yeah, we love heartbreak.
It's been a couple of minutes since we had sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Gramps, what are you doing here, Garp? You haven't had some second thoughts, are you? No, we're fighting pirates here. No reason to show them any mercy. Then shut up. Let me sit here. Outlaws deserve no mercy. Don't hit Luffy, you old geezer. But this is family. What am I supposed to do? Ace, why? Why didn't you live the way I told you to?
Yeah. This is so much of why I love Garp, is how much it hurts him to be confronted with his failures and how much he wishes he could save these boys.
Oh, and the flashbacks to little kids.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And now that we know this is Roger's son, the son of the world's worst criminal, and Garp tried to raise him to be a Marine boy and wanted to save him and protect him.
And all of it was sad, but the thing that actually made me start crying, and it's making me waz right now, rereading it and looking at it, it's beside him, crisscross.
Yep.
He just sits down. He just sits beside Ace, and it's like, if he's gonna die, I'm gonna sit beside him while he dies. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be his family. I'm gonna be someone he can look to, who he knows world. And that was a shame.
Yep.
And so even though I want to punch Garp all the time because he's a shitty grandfather,
He wasn't great.
I just am like,
he loves them so much.
He does. He loves them so much. And you see in that moment that he was desperately just trying to make them be as far away from piracy as possible, knowing Ace's background and knowing where he came from, because it was so important he could save him.
Yeah.
That he could put him on the right side of power.
He promised to protect his enemy, his greatest enemy's son. Gave a dying man his word and failed.
Was just desperate. Yeah. And so he felt desperate to put the boys on the right side of power. He was trying to do what the Flamingo was talking about. He was trying to make it so that the boys would be on the government side, so that they would be on the side of power that would help to protect them. And to be the ultimate protection. But instead, the boys chose to be their own people.
And I think you can see that, like, Garp knows not all pirates are bad, in that when Luffy raids the prison to save Ace, he's like, good on him, way to go, kid. It really is that he could protect them if they were Marines. He could keep them safe.
Yeah, exactly. And now we know why Garp feels like he needs to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And then just when Ace thinks everything is fine, and when Garp thinks like he's just going to sit there and watch the outcome, and he's going to have to watch his one grandson die, Luffy falls from the sky.
This is just Marineford. Impel Down was last week with Amazon Lily.
And so when it shows how they slid up, got stuck, and then came down, and then crack, Luffy and the whole group falls from the sky, swoosh, and then boom, right up there on the screen for all of the world to see. What happened? Did a ship just fall out of the sky? It's in the ocean. It fell into the water. Luffy, Ace, I finally found you. I'm here for you. They mean business. Look how many there are. Garp, this is your family again. And then Garp grabs his head. Luffy!
Garp sitting there cross-legged. I've accepted that one of my children will die. I failed him. At least today can't get worse. Luffy falls from the sky. Hey, I'm here to put myself in harm's way! You there? Wait, is she there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I was coughing.
Okay.
I laughed too hard and it made me cough.
Oh no.
Ugh. Ugh. I hate the sniffling on when I can barely watch the episodes when I cry. I'm like, how can anyone watch this tripe? Listen to me crying every. Isn't it making them crazy?
I mean,
it's making me crazy, damn
so
it.
many of them are crying at home right now. I've cried like 3 times.
This is one of the hardest things I've ever read, as far as like how the buildup was done and how the past is used to reflect on the present and make us more vulnerable and hurt.
It's masterful.
It actually is. I hate it, but it's masterful. I hate it. Everyone falls. Never a dull moment with you, Straw Hat, says Mihawk. Straw Hat, says Moria, who I hope dies with the house on him too. What is he doing here? Luffy, for goodness sake. Helmeppo, look. It's the Straw Hat. I heard they had him in Impel Down. I always knew he was amazing. Aw, Kobe. So happy
such a
about
Luffy
you.
fan.
He's such a Luffy stan. I love that Luffy falls and everyone immediately reacts like, oh my god, it's Luffy. That's incredible. It's Luffy. And then you're like, we're going to find out just how strong Luffy is. Well, he's strong, but not that strong.
He's like
and
pretty
so
strong.
I loved how that was slow played, because everybody was, the real reason that everyone is about Luffy isn't just because he's ass. The real reason is that people are like, we have actual feelings and cares and worries and things about Luffy.
Mhm.
And that's way more important here. And I think that's really cool because at first when you're reading this, if you aren't reading it right, you're thinking like, oh, Luffy. But no, he can lose.
Oh,
We find out just how hard it is. Pardon?
Someone was asking if you have thoughts on how Luffy predicted what would happen when he meets Mihawk, but like you've read post-war, you know what happened there.
Oh, I know everything that happens there. I read post-war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
allowed to
talk about how right Mama Drock was about a lot of things when we talk about post-war next week.
Yeah. Because we just don't have a lot of time to finish this and the depth of it, and do all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I also loved that. Do you know who you're up against? You're going to be killed for sure. Shut up. That's not for you to say. I know you're trying to become a pirate king, but I'm going to be the pirate king, not you. And then Whitebeard goes, cheeky devil. He doesn't spaz out. He doesn't have a freak out. He acts like a father. Cheeky devil. And he absolutely loves who Luffy. That's when in that second, because he loved Ace, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how he fell in love with Ace, even though I don't see it in the moment. Whereas in this second, I got to see Whitebeard look at a precocious little shit and be like, cheeky devil, and be so happy about it. And I was like, and now I love Whitebeard.
I mean, with what he says at the end of his life, we know Whitebeard knew Roger well, and we get little flashes of it too. Imagine your rival from the great age of piracy, you get to see as a young boy again. That must be so fun for him.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just absolutely cool.
Like, this kid reminds you so much of the youngest version of your rival, and you're just like, I'm all in with this kid. Yeah.
And all the reaction of the people around, he's arguing with Whitebeard. He's going to get killed for sure. And Whitebeard is just like, no, I really like this kid. This kid is kind of cool. And then it turns out we watch right away. Luffy's just not the thing. And then Ivan with the death wink. God damn, that death wink is incredible. Just like incredible.
Truly? How is Ivan doing that? I have no idea. It's cool though.
Yeah. What did Oda tell me? So I think from my perspective, do with the haki and like using it as almost like a push, similar to how Kuma pushes. So because when she winks her eye and pushes out like that, I think it's the way that she focuses. Is it he, him, she, her?
Gender fluid, so literally whatevs.
So I can just call him whatever. Okay, so it feels like it's this person, so they coat their eyelashes in haki, and I'm not going to say that it can't be that, but it's also like the haki is focused and pushed out, and that's kind of what it felt like. Mm-hmm. It also felt like Kuma with his bear paw fruit, his haki, and I wondered whether or not that was a Vegapunk thing when I was thinking about the way that he's able to discern and find all inside of somebody, like all the sadness, all the blood, all the pain, how he's able to pull it apart or something. I was like, is that part of a Vegapunk change, or is that such control over your haki? Which one is it? Is it a...
By the way, this is a thing we won't talk about fully. This is a thing we won't talk about entirely this time because it's more of a post-war thing, but someone's talking about the Zoro air slashes, something Mama and Drock and I both have talked about, that we're going to talk about more detail next time. That's fun. Think about this fan base. Zoro, me and Mama Drock, and you guys all agree Zoro incidentally figured out a bit of haki when he cut steel. He only started to do air slashes after he learned to cut steel, huh? Interesting? All right, we can move on.
Don't come up here, Luffy. You should know better. You and I are pirates. We went to sea separately. I have my own adventures. I have my own friends. There is no place left for you. You think I'd let myself be rescued by a weakling like you? That would be an unbearable insult. Beat it, Luffy. Why did you come here? Ace, please, Luffy. I don't want you to get killed for me. It's my own fault I'm here. I'm your little brother. I don't care about your pirate rules. This breaks you every time. Like, breaks you. I knew it was going to break me, but we're brothers. I'm your little brother. Screw you. I don't care about your pirate rules. I'm here to save you. You can get over it. Why'd you got to do this? Why'd you got to do this? Also, Old Jim is one of my favorite characters in the history of ever.
He's so good.
Yeah. So Luffy gains himself a reputation within this fight because everyone finds out he's the son of Dragon the Revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
And once people find out that he's Dragon's son, and then that goes over the news from Saboti Archipelago, everybody gets to like, ugh. I don't care. There's no point in hiding it anymore, Luffy. He's already a notorious outlaw. This news isn't going to make any difference now. Garp is just like, one thing after another just coming out, and Garp is like, are you freaking kidding me? I've been trying to keep these assholes safe for so long. One of them is the freaking son of Gold D. Roger, and one is the son of goddamn Dragon, and somehow they managed to stick themselves in the center of hell.
If I were
so
Garp,
I felt very bad
I'd be side-eyeing Kobe with hope, like, please let one of my son figures not fucking turn into a pirate.
Oh God, can you please just behave?
Can you just be normal?
Spoiler alert, no.
You think Kobe can't be normal?
No. Say whatever you want. I'm gonna save you even if it kills me. And then Whitebeard says, don't you let him die, Marco.
Oh, I love that.
Whitebeard. God. That was so good. That was... How does he do that as an author? How does he make one panel with one little tiny phrase and that's so good. Like, so good.
Yeah. One little panel with one line can mean so much. And it's all because of how good Oda is at controlling hype. We have so much hype for what Whitebeard the pirate means.
Yes, exactly. And so I think this is another thing, because when it goes over here and he says, I'm going to save you, he just falls apart and says, I won't let anybody get away with hurting you, Ace. He says to him, just you wait, I'm going to come to save you. And then Ace gets just desperate, and Garp says, what is it? And he says, I don't care what the future holds for me. I accept it. I reach out with the hand that offered me help, and I accept the blade that would execute me. I won't fight anymore. I'm so sorry, everyone. And then Garp is just crushed by it, and they're watching the fighting taking place below him. You can see, though, that he doesn't want to die. You can see it. He wants to live, but he's looking at all these people that he loves below, and he's like, I can't believe I'm sitting here, and then I caused this, that I caused all these people to do this. And you can see poor Garp is like, I know exactly how you feel, man. You're watching all of this. You wish you could be anywhere else. You weren't the one that was causing all this hell. I don't know what to tell you. This is what it is. Like,
they're
you can
suffering
see the pain
together.
in Garp. Yeah, and they're just both sitting there quietly suffering, because Garp has his hands tied metaphorically by his position, and Ace has his hands tied literally by being a prisoner. Up there, prisoners in their own making. Ace because of what he chose to do, and Garp because of what he chose to be. And the two of them are just sitting there side by side, prisoners of their own making, wishing that they can do anything to help the people that they love, and there isn't. So they just have to watch it unfold. And that was devastating to see them side by side, feeling the exact same other. God. Why'd you make me read this?
Because
Why'd you make me
everything
do
you
this
just
stuff?
described is beautiful.
Is that how you feel about things? Beauty?
Yes.
Ugh.
I think that's phenomenal storytelling.
Okay, Fleet Admiral Sengoku, the New World pirates are splitting up. Yes, they're forming on either side. They're attacking our warships. Excellent foresight. Did you figure it out, Whitebeard? I suppose my ruse was clumsy, but intuition alone is not going to save him. I love the way that this is done, because every time somebody thinks that they have made it to a place where they can't be hurt, they can be hurt. And so, yeah, you're going to escape somewhat, but you're not going to escape either way. Like, you can't beat me with your abilities, says Smoker, just as Luffy is getting. And now I know Dragon saved you back in Logtown, Straw Hat. I feel weak. Get that club off of me. And then, boom, along comes my great girl. Let him go. How'd you hit me? I'm made of smoke. And then she manages to do it in an interesting way. Hancock, do you want to be stripped of the title of Warlord too? Silence! I'm too furious to hear your words. How dare you strike and try to capture the man I love? The Pirate Empress saved Straw Hat. Cough, cough. You'll be punished severely for that. I've never been so angry before in my life. I will tear you to pieces and feed you to the beasts. So this is the one time that she gives zero shit and she just exposes herself and doesn't keep her people safe. And I was like, oh my God. And how she managed to get around that, because Smoker is just not high up enough that it became a huge problem yet. And I'm wondering if it's going to in the future. Says her name. Yes, he spoke my name again. And somehow they think she thinks that they're married. But this was so heartbreaking for Iva. Kuma,
Oh,
if
God,
you don't
yeah.
stop, I'm gonna have to hit you back. Cut it out. It's me. Don't you remember this face? Hey, I don't know how you two are connected, but save your breath. Revolutionary officer. What are you talking about? You think he's Bartholomew Kuma, right? But I have news for you. The real tyrant Kuma is already dead. Yeah, I didn't understand why. Like, I wondered if the reason that Don De Flamingo, actually, you know what? No, screw that. I need a new name for him.
Not Don Quixote do Flamingo?
No, it's too good for him. You know?
Kind
He
of like,
doesn't deserve.
Crocodile Face.
Yeah. He needs a name that's something. What is with this Doffy thing? Is that what people call him?
Dofi is a thing a lot of people call him.
Okay, well, Doffy's not bad. I like Faux Fuck Mingo. That's a good one. Or Mingo, but that Mingo is too cool. I wouldn't hate the word Mingo. Flamingo head goes with the thing.
I love how we have warlords you call by name, like Boa Hancock, but then it's not just warlords you disrespect, you don't refer to by name, because old Jim is up there.
Hey, old Jim. He is my fave. I love that man.
Wait. Is he your favorite warlord? Because Boa's also a warlord.
No, I don't know if he's my favorite warlord.
The warlords
Did I tell you, old Jim?
The warlords
old Jim
who
really
aren't
reminds
shitty.
me of my grandpa.
The warlords who aren't shitty are so cool, because Boa, Kuma, previous, and old Jim are all so great.
Welcome, Gilbert. First time catching the stream.
Hi, Gilbert.
Oh, I almost said something, but I can't. It was an AC/DC reference. But I can't call him that.
I wonder what it was.
Do you think you know what it was?
I
can't. I was gonna the pink sink.
Yeah, maybe not that one.
But I can't call him that. Doesn't feel like I can.
I think
I'm gonna think on it. People
Okay.
give me a lot of great ideas, but I'm gonna think about it. Yeah, dude with the strange glasses. And Featherface. I'm gonna call him Featherface for right now, and we'll get there.
What about Elton Josh? Because he just looks like Elton John, but he's not.
Please, I like Elton John. I don't want to do that.
That's why you call him Elton Josh.
I love that Hancock got Luffy the key. And this is what I'm talking about. That's so important because I think one of the most unique things about this story, and the reason that you and I have the same idea about the end of the story with Blackbeard and Luffy, and the reason that Blackbeard won't be successful when Luffy is times like these, when Hancock hands Luffy the key to take the cuffs off his brother. Luffy things he does if it wasn't for the fact that he's being helped along the entire way. And lots of authors need to make it so that ultimate great thing, and the reason everybody gets out is because of the protagonist and they're the hero, and that is why everything happens. But in this, by the way, I really love that one about the feather, but I'm trying not to use the F-bomb too much. The reason that this is so impressive, it's rare that an author makes it so that his character has to be humble and has to get the help of other people, but doesn't feel humbled by it.
No, but that's exactly what we're talking about earlier with he can do conflicting things. Because he writes a story where Luffy could do nothing without everyone helping him, but they also could never succeed without him. Like, he is the reason that the day is saved over and over again, but he could never do it without their help. It's both. It's two things at once.
It is. But the great thing about it is that unlike so many characters who get ego-driven and are then like, if I can't do it, Luffy has no such compunction. He just understands that I can't do this unless they're there. We all have a part. We all have to live to our part, or we're not going to come out on top. And so rather than Luffy just like traipsing through the world and being like, oh, that hurts my ego, he's just like, thanks for the key. That rocks. Thanks for giving. To make excuses or have this long speech about it. He's just like, that's cool of you, dude. Thanks so much. Takes the key and pisses off. Because I can for my friends, and I would be upset if my friends didn't let me help them. So I'm certainly not going to be some kind of a jerk who doesn't let my friends help me. Yeah, it's the teamwork makes the dream work, but he doesn't feel the need to stop and be like, okay, thank you for doing. No, it's just part of. It's expected that if you can do something for your friends, you will, and it doesn't humiliate anyone. It builds everyone. That's great writing. I can't tell you how many times I'm pissed off when I'm reading a piece of fiction and the author and the narrative is making the person who's at the top, the protagonist, be like, I can do it on my own, and have to go through this big learning curve about what it looks like to need help sometimes. I'm like, this trope is stupid. I hate this trope. You actually teach more to be these loner bullshit humans by doing this, whereas this story is, it is about friendship, but it isn't about friendship like it's a story about friendship. It's a story that friendship is the ability to put together skills and to expect to lean into each other, and by doing that, that's how you win.
It's something I talk about. Sorry, no, keep going.
No, don't forget your words. It seems like it's just such a trite thing to say. It's just flippant, but it isn't, because then he backs it up with such rich writing where all these times that each other, when you look back, you're like, who could you pull out of the story and still have the same ending? Who could you pull out and yet they still... And every single time I try that game where I'm like, if Nami wasn't here, would they win? No. If this person wasn't here, would they win? No. Every time there is no one I can pull out and not have it massively destroy the arc and make it so they don't win. That's impressive. So what were you going to say?
It's a thing I talk about a lot because One Piece gets a bad rap for a lot of things that I don't think it's guilty of from people who don't watch or read it. And one of them is the trope I've mentioned before of the power of friendship. The power of friendship being a trope in anime and manga where someone goes, my friends need my help, so I can do this because I need to help them. And it makes them stronger. And One Piece, like the literal only time we've seen that so far is when Usopp being there lets Luffy not fall down so he can deliver one final attack to Lucci. But that was just so he could stay up a second longer. It didn't power him up. It just let him get an attack off. And the rest of the time, the reason the series is about friendship so effectively is because the way that friendship helps Luffy is people want to help him with functional, actual help.
Exactly. And Luffy wants to accept it without it changing his value of himself.
Oh, and he's lobby, not Water 7, yeah. but yeah, I love the way that One Piece writes friendship, because it doesn't feel like an abstract power boost. It feels like a necessary part of success.
Yes. So Mihawk, sorry, red-haired, but this power knows no restraint. Hawkeye, now fate. How will you deal with this heaven-sent boy? More evidence of him being a god.
I mean, he
Will
did
his life
literally
end
fall from the
here,
heavens.
or will he escape this black blade? Yeah, I'm done arguing that point.
Okay, fine.
I'm done arguing. I don't have time. I love this too, because this was kind of, you know how we always talk about Blackbeard. He pieces out, he runs off, he doesn't bother to do things because he's like, that is a waste of my breath and time, and I'm not ready for that. And right in this moment, Luffy says, I don't have time to fight someone that strong. I'm here to save Ace. He's just like, I can't believe I have to be in this stupid battle. I don't have time for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when other people come in and Luffy starts to,
oh, you cut out there. Can you reiterate?
Yeah, and then Luffy's like, Mihawk is like, you're not out of Ivankov's people. Hawkeye, do you remember us? We challenged you in the past and we lost. And he's like, why would I bother remembering you? They take just enough time to pull attention away. And then Luffy doesn't hang out. He backs away from the fight. He gets underneath his weapon and he immediately is bouncing away from him, trying to find a way to get away. He's not going to fight. He's not worried about his feelings. Oh, he does do one thing that's really, really good, because everyone talks about how goated Buggy is, and I loved Buggy in Impel Down. I think Buggy was top. I think he was less top tier here, where he got weirdly into his own awesomeness, but the Buggy shield is so sweet. Where Luffy is like, well, he can be cut and cut and cut. That doesn't matter. So because of that, I'm going to use him as like in the history of ever, and he grabs him in front. Mihawk can't hurt him anyway, so it doesn't matter if I use him as a shield. Gum human shield. What do you think you're doing, Straw Hat? You're a Hawkeye. Take this special muggy ball. And it's pretty cool when they work together. Thanks, Buggy. I'll never forget you. Buggy is so unhappy with it, but Luffy doesn't hang out and wait for other things to happen. And sure enough, he gets some backup. Nice to meet you, Mihawk. Only an ignoramus wouldn't know you. And he gets some backup and he's able to take off. Luffy doesn't sit around. Luffy doesn't wait for things to happen, because his whole focus is simply making it up to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, how many times do we say that it feels like it's like a traditional?
We talk about it feeling like an old video game pretty often. I think still the most was the Sea Train. We are going to do Hunter x Hunter one day, and that dude loves video games so much. You're going to constantly be like, this feels like a video game.
Yeah, Buggy is unafraid, it says in the face of Mihawk, which is kudos. It's kudos, except for Mihawk is literally the one thing that could hurt Buggy the least, right? Like, what does Mihawk do? He cuts things. What does Buggy do? He gets cut. Like,
match made in heaven.
It seems like it's a perfect match for him. He's like, yeah, kill me, dude. Like,
I think my computer I used to watch chat might have just died because the cord broke. So I'm gonna try to keep up with. I think you might be in charge of keeping up with chat now, because my computer's dead.
I go back and forth between chat and the Happy Comics, Happy Manga of Joy. So, chat, you're gonna have to part-time take care of yourself.
I need to buy a new charger cord. This one's dead.
Unstoppable force. Immovable object.
You know what, guys? I can do this. I can do this. Give me a second. We're gonna pause because I want to be able to keep up with chat. I am going to open my stream on my phone. That way I can keep an eye. Okay.
Can't promise anything, says chat. Time to be evil. I'm not ready for this much responsibility. Olaf dies in Frozen 2. Rotten kids.
I really want to be able to keep an eye on chat as a thing, so I am having to log in on my phone. The charger had been working all day. I tested it earlier, so I was like, oh, this is fine. Not me forgetting the name of my show.
It's the Drock Show.
You know what? That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, guys, you're on my cell phone now. My cell phone is on the thing that normally holds up my Microsoft Surface. So now I can see you again. Hi, chat. Hi there. Ooh, holy shit.
Have to be
holy
good
shit.
again.
Wait. My Jin emote with those flaming hands looks good as hell. Whoever did that, that's good.
Where are they? I didn't see them.
Oh, that's good shit. Big fan. Big fan of that one.
I didn't see them. Now I feel like I gotta see them. Can you still hear me?
They can behave with emotes. Okay, they've been put in emote jail. Oh no. I can hear you.
Because I ran away. I'm walking around the house. That's right. That's how good my microphone is.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, we should keep going.
I'm a walker around her. Okay. I'm just grabbing some vitamin C. Because you cannot neglect your health. Is everyone in emote?
Yeah, they've been put in emote jail for being jerks.
They weren't that bad. Oh, they might have done something when I wasn't looking.
I didn't see what they did.
Okay. Here we go. Crocodile. Remember when I said this is another gold star for me, by the way? Remember when I said that? What?
I'm gonna need a reminder on why.
Remember when I said that Crocodile and Luffy would fight together?
You
boom,
did.
Boom, boom. Yeah, well, here we are. Crocodile and Luffy fighting together.
They're doing it.
I didn't know how much together and how big that would be, but pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Crocodile actually really brought it.
I agree.
Mr. Zero was phenomenal in this fight, and he killed it. No longer in the dumb baby jail.
I also love him being like, I'm here to pick a fight with Whitebeard, and Whitebeard just goes, fuck off, and he's like, no, help Luffy.
Also, Luffy kicks him in the face right away and is like, no, Ace likes that old man.
Bitch, I kicked your ass once and I ain't weaker now.
Yeah, you think I got less strong? And finding out how strong Crocodile is and who he's able to fight in this really helped me to actually appreciate Luffy's strength a little more.
I don't think Luffy has no place in this fight. It's just he's nowhere. He's not. He's in the top 50 instead of the top 10.
Exactly. And I think that that's a thing to remember. Is it's not like Luffy doesn't belong in this fight, because if Crocodile belongs in this fight, then Luffy does, because Luffy eventually found a weakness and wasn't able to do it. So I actually was very impressed with the whole Crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a whole different style of art here.
Yeah. Oh, have you not been watching?
No.
No, ever since the delete your art, I was like, yeah, this isn't working. Let's go for something entirely new that I've never done before, ever. So that's what we're doing. I have never done something like this, and we're just going for it.
For you. That's wild. I love it. Yeah, so I was super impressed with Crocodile because, this was, not my favorite in the early one. I also hate the Navy force of all the Kumas. Like, I was glad to see them here because I've been waiting to see how they would be used. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What a cool way to do this. But I hate them. I think the Navy force of Kumas are terrifying. But I love that the people who were in Saboti Archipelago, Saboti got to see the Kuma all lined up because they remember them. And I'm glad people around the world are seeing what's happening with the government. Absolutely fantastic. They seem to think that seeing the Kumas would be good as far as keeping the peace and people understanding their power, but I was immediately like, yeah, no.
That
people
is
seeing that level
of like inhuman power.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, if you're a populace and you see that, you're not thinking like, oh, good, we're so protected. You think, oh God, we're screwed. Like, we have no power. We could never do anything against this.
You say that,
So I
but
think
whenever people see their government use crazy weapons, a lot of people are like, wow, we are so strong. That's good.
It's interesting, though, because I think of this as a very different type of weapon, because I agree with you. But this...
You're right. If our government was introducing RoboCop, I think people might get nervous. But then again, we also have a lot of media like RoboCop.
Yeah. Cop type thing that I was like, I don't think I'd want to watch my government do that. Love the idea, though, that the Bad Buddha saw this and was like, okay, this is exactly where I want this to be cut off now. But little does he know that you've got frickin'... So even though I'm kind of pissed at Buggy in this arc and he's being such a tool, I like that because of Buggy standing for himself and letting others stand for, that he ends up making sure that this gets filmed without his knowing. And so we actually get to see a lot of the broadcast going out, because could that have gone better? This is supposed to be a secret that I'm a legendary pirate. Captain Buggy, your nose is bleeding. Wipe your face, please, and we'll do the shoot. Are you the great pirate, Buggy the Clown? Yep, that's me. And I love that it keeps getting filmed the entire time, and without their knowledge, you're screwed, dude. How sad the whole part with Whitebeard getting stabbed by his own crew and his own crewmen believing in the story and saying, like, why did you do it? Tell the truth. You were in cahoots with the Navy and you made a deal to save Whitebeard Pirates Ace. And that was crushing. And then, more importantly, to have him realize that he had been fooled and how easily he had been fooled and fallen under the influence. Very, very hard to watch.
It's so brutal.
That was, because it's one thing to be proven wrong, to realize that you are so wrong and the person that you just hurt is still the person that you respected and you might love them even more. And to have him say, you may be a fool, but I still love you.
Ugh, and he just hugs Squard.
Oh, brutal. That's way worse than a punishment, let's be honest.
My stupid son.
Yeah. Way better to be punished and turned away than to have the person you love do push-ups.
Okay.
Grab you and say, you may be a fool, but I love you.
It's so brutal.
I'm not dead, I'm just disappointed. I'm not dead, I'm disappointed. Oh, that's amazing. I can't believe he believed Akunu either. Like, come on. How do you believe somebody like that? That was beyond gullible. But, still crushing. What are you doing? I tried to kill you. You've always been one of my most loyal followers. Who was it that lured you into the dark depths of doubt? He was the rebel from the Navy. He told me that if I stabbed him, would be spared. Be good to each other. Ace isn't the only one who's special. And then, if you are pirates, decide who you believe. If you're coming with me, kiss your lives goodbye. God, I love Whitebeard. The world is going to be so much less cool without Whitebeard in it.
Agreed.
Follow Pops. Make a path for Pops. We'll make the Navy pay for this. Jinbei, look. Our enemies have all gathered in the plaza. I know, I have a bad feeling about this. But Pops is making his... and we can't stop now. This fight is absolutely crushing.
Someone wants me to add Mr. 3 to the drawing, and I don't feel like I can fit that into the composition.
I could see why they would want you to. He does kind of deserve it.
He does deserve it, not gonna question. Mr. 3 was such a weirdly valuable player in this arc.
He really was. Which was interesting because Mr. 2 was essential for our last arc, and then Mr. 3 being essential for this arc. It was really, really...
Luffy has a knack for
Okay.
turning former enemies into allies.
Which is what I talked about. Each time that he goes somewhere, he own mind. So I was thinking about this idea of people at the top decide what justice is and who is right and wrong. And I started to realize that Luffy is kind of the antidote to that, because Luffy, everywhere he goes, it's almost like he clears minds. And everyone he talks to is suddenly able to see beyond power and just see right and wrong. And he gives people the ability to have their own mind. It's like he puts sunshine into people's minds. And I kind of talked about that a little bit before, but it feels more like he's able to shine a light on their mind so that they can say to themselves, like, shit, this is actually, I don't believe in this. This is actually shit. And then change people's minds and have them make up their own opinions. And I love that. The sun clears the fog. Exactly. From out of the darkness. Exactly. Okay, I'm going back into the pirate. Oh, and then Shithead, the flamingo, says some things and I don't care what they are. Get lost, Shithead de Flamingo. The three admirals.
Yeah.
When they fight together, god dang, they're powerful.
Motherfuckers coming in here with swagger, coming in here with drip, coming in here with power. The fucking whole package, these three.
These three, they are something else. And they have their little argument. God damn, they are powerful. They are scary.
Yep.
I was like,
I also love that they've all been built up over the entire series so far. Akainu as this force of destruction, willing to do anything he's ordered to. Aokiji as this strange meandering force in the world, and Kuzan as this weapon who will just show up and with boredom annihilate pirates.
yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And then when they're like, now's the time, melt the ice.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Terrifying. And they think that they're going to get away with the decimation and the way they're having it. So it was just amazing to me when they're freaking putting out the lava and you've got Whitebeard chucking out the rumbles and creating the tidal waves in the air. And I was just like, this is getting so bloody nasty. I wish the world could see this. And there's going to be, and I loved that. And little Oars Jr. coming up at the end when you think he's dead, he's still alive, Oars, and doing that one last final push.
Yeah, doing everything he can to help.
I really want to take, and this was one of the things that I might wanted a picture of, was Luffy when he's going into Gear 2, and he's saying, Straw Hat Luffy.
Oh, and we missed the and he's.
Pardon?
We missed what you said.
And he's standing in front of the three admirals in Gear 2, and they all go Straw Hat Luffy.
So I didn't send you anime clips because you weren't ready for the one that you most should watch because it's very tragic. But one that I should have sent in retrospect that they animated well is him being hurled by, or him standing in front of them. Because the hurled is later, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But, oh god, it's so cool. I love him standing in front of them. It's great.
You know why I also liked it? Yeah, you have the mast, and the whole scene is top tier, and we'll go into that in a second. But the thing that was so incredible about this scene is I kept thinking, like, I feel like I'm seeing now, but I'm also seeing the future, because I know that somewhere in the future, I'm going to see Luffy standing in front of them again. I know it.
Okay. With prediction. Boom. Luffy stands in front of the three admirals again.
This is a, it feels like I'm watching two events. Oda is like, this is his first time with them. And sometimes this exact
you
same
might hear some construction
again.
For a second. It'll end in a bit. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
Because when he gets there, huff, 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 huff. I'm getting into there. I'm just trying to change my page, but it's being unresponsive. I don't know if you've heard this about the internets today. They suck. When Luffy gets there in front of them, and he's this giant ass mast broken over top of them, You made it all the way here, but you're not getting on this platform. You're persistent, son of dragon. It's pretty scary for a kid. And then, it's hopeless, Luffy. Let me have Ace. And he stamp Gatling.
Yeah.
And he cracks the freaking thing and grabs the mask. I was like, dear sweet Jesus, does this kid have no worries about his well-being?
He's just doing everything he can, no matter how risky it is. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll create a smoke screen by throwing the mask. They freeze it. I kick it, and then I go.
Yeah.
Everything in his power.
Gear 2. And then he stamps down. Too slow. And they kick him. And you can see Ace up on the thing. Do it, sir. Boom! Out comes a huge, freaking powerful smash in the guard where Ace is. I was like, God damn, Luffy, you were putting every last thing. And then Crocodile's head goes flying off. Yeah, you know what? Doesn't matter. Crocodile has the great good fortune of being Sand Boy. So he and the happy Buggy the Clown can get chopped up all they want.
True. That is their thing.
Getting chopped up is great. This part was pretty fast and furious and confusing when you're going through the whole swim towards oars. We have to get to the plaza. They have a ship. There's no footing. Like, it was just insanity. And he created, like, definitely this amping up and everyone just being a part of the massive thing, but it also made it so it was like, my head. You have to keep going back and being like, what the hell is going on, and where are we now, and what's going on with Ace, and where is everyone? It just felt like it was boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it was a lot. So it killed my face. But then when we get into chapter 500, hurry up, slow internet. Oh, I didn't notice that in the cover story, Luffy is wearing jeans.
Huh. Internet just is slow today. Like, my reference document had to go away because before my computer died, Discord just stopped working. Like, it disconnected on that computer.
Yeah. Is Okiji dead? Of course not, fool. Ice block, party song. Watching the fights that are going on between Whitebeard and everyone was just absolutely mind-boggling. That man took so much.
Oh, constantly taking damage this fight. Just hit after hit after hit.
The amount of damage that he was able to take was absolutely mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Man ain't called the world's strongest man for nothing.
Yeah. You know, my disappointment here, I've met, I'm sure we're going to do a lot of flashbacks that are going to include Whitebeard. I mean, I hope we are. And I know that I can't imagine there's not going to be flashbacks where we get to see Whitebeard, right?
I cannot tell you. That's outside what I'm allowed to say, I think.
All right. Well, I think I've met Whitebeard and seen the breadth of his alive time here, and I feel kind of like I was ripped off a bit.
He's such a great character, and it feels like you lose him as soon as you have him.
Yeah, I do want to make a prediction that we are going to see a lot of flashbacks that are going to have...
How many flashbacks with a Whitebeard in them do we need before we qualify as a lot, do you think? Like, is this a 3? Is this a 5?
Well, then I'm not going to say a lot, but I'm going to say up, for sure 3.
3 minimum? Okay, 3 minimum flashbacks.
Live show.
Okay, yeah. Prediction made. 3 minimum flashbacks with Whitebeard.
So because I feel like we go all this way. Whitebeard is this kind of anomaly character in the background. He comes out, he rocks. He's such an incredible character. And then as soon as we fall in love with him, dead.
Yep.
I was just like, are you kidding me, man?
I think that's part of why you go in thinking he might die, and then partway through you're like, no, he's gonna live. Because you love him so much, and it's impossible to believe that 30 chapters are enough to introduce a character just to kill him.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe that we went through all of this work and all of these things about Whitebeard, and then they kill him. I was like, this is bullshit. I just found out how cool he is. I just found out how much I like him, and you kill him?
But we're not there yet. He's not dead yet.
Oh, get over it.
Get
to watch the way that Luffy gets finger pistoled, then zapped, and then guts alone aren't enough, Straw Hat Luffy. It takes more than effort alone to save someone. You've got to have power, which he's heard before, but in this way was really important because I think it's one of the things that made him decide he was going to need more time, and he was going to need to make himself stronger. Like, he keeps saying it. He had the first moment when he was with CP9 when he said, I realized, and so I just changed myself, and that was hockey. He just didn't realize it was hockey. I realized in order to save my friends and not lose anyone anymore that I was going to need to be more powerful. But in this time here where he has him stand over top of him and kind of just mock him, like, that you can just get up there because you have moxie? No. That's not going to do it. I think for Luffy, this was a point where he understood, like, okay, once he came back around, once he was able to stand and breathe again after losing his brother, I think that this was where he realized, like, no, I'm changing myself. I'm going to completely change who I am. I'm going to up my abilities mass because there's no way in hell I am ever going through this again. And so I think it was this moment here where he was with, is it Okiji, the tired one? No, yeah.
Kuzan's the tired one, sorry. Okay. No.
Sorry, Kuzan, the tired one. And then...
Oh, no, wait. Okiji's the tired one. Kuzan's the bored one. I remember. My brain's bad. Don't worry.
Oh, sorry, no. It is the bored one. It is the one that looks like...
So I was right. I was wrong, but right.
Yes. I also think he looks like what's his face, Justin Timberlake.
Oh, Kuzan is Aokiji. What? Aokiji is Kuzan. I missed. My brain's fucked today. I was thinking of Kizaru. Everyone, you are right to make fun of me. Kizaru is the bored one. Thank you.
Thank you all.
God damn, it's confusing because they got two names. I am talking.
Also, this fun brought to you by you not having it open. Yeah.
Look, normally I can remember the admirals, but every once in a while I get Kuzan and Kizaru confused because they're both Ks.
Yeah. So when he kicks him off, when he punches him out, and then he slams into Whitebeard, this was, I think, another... Almost got you to draw. Whitebeard grabs him and holds Luffy by his legs. Luffy is dripping blood. His eyes have gone into the glazed look, and he goes, Ace. It's sad to see how low the mighty Whitebeard has sunk. How could a leader of your standing let a piece of trash like that lead your charge? Luffy coughs. There he is, Straw Boy. Jinbei's over there. And then you see it happen, the giant face of Ivankov overhead. I loved this time because Whitebeard understood exactly who Luffy was and who he could become. Ivankov was 100% focused on Luffy. So even though Luffy was so weak in this time and had just had his ass handed to him, he refused to give up. And his tenacity, even as everybody is calling him down, the other person is like, piece of trash like this is going to lead your charge. You're nothing but a massive spirit, and all you can do is talk big. You pathetic young fool. I love idiots like you. So good. Because now we get to see who Luffy is in a new way as readers. And we realize, yeah, holy shit, Luffy is not nearly as strong as we thought. Like, we thought that he was getting weaker in each one of these fights. We were like, ooh, he's outmatched again. Oh, he's super outmatched. So we've been told for the last few arcs as he gets outmatched. But in this time, we're super being told he doesn't have the ability to fight. He has to strengthen himself. He can no longer run by the seat of his pants and accidentally huck hockey off every once in a while. He has to be practical about it, and he actually has to build this up. And that's incredible that we're finally seeing that Luffy is going to have to stand up and make a choice to be a different person. being that does matter. And the fact that he is a big old blowhard with way too much heart is actually important, because someone like Whitebeard wouldn't find that to be an admirable quality unless it would be something would actually do something for Luffy in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're fighting from this moment on and Luffy is laying on the ground and he's bleeding out, but he chooses to have Ivankov revive him and use hormones on him so that Luffy can go back up to the top, and Whitebeard stands behind Luffy and continues to tell people, protect him, help him get up to the front. We realize that even though we have been watching Luffy get continuously outmatched battle after battle, we realize that Luffy isn't a match that he wants to be at. This is the part where I felt like, but he will. He will. Mm-hmm. Because Whitebeard believes in him. Because Whitebeard sees something inside of him and sees who he can be, because Whitebeard immediately loved him and saw him for what he was inside. And it was funny, Whitebeard used his strength and his position and who he is to build Luffy's mind at Luffy's weakest moment in the fight. That's genius writing. Genius. Literal weakest that we have seen him in the fight, when he is the least impactful, when he's been called down by others. Whitebeard is to make us know, yeah, but there's something to this kid. That's incredible. Oda is so good at his job.
It's exactly what we've been talking about the whole time. I think it's taken us a while to really pin it down, but we're noticing it more and more places that Oda's greatest asset as a writer is doing two seemingly contradicting things at the same time. And holy fuck, this is gonna come back. This is gonna come back for the Blackbeard video. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it all, how much it comes back for the Blackbeard video. But it really is his most impressive asset as a writer, is doing two seemingly contradictory things at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so torn up inside. What?
just a sigh, what? Because this is big.
Okay. Side even now. Pops, Luffy, all of my shipmates, they're all bleeding and dying for me. It touches me so deeply and the tears won't stop flowing. And even after everything I've seen and done, I still don't want to die. And he's so embarrassed by the fact that he still doesn't want to die, even though all these people are bleeding and dying for him. And he knows if he just wanted to die, he could save them. Luffy would have nothing to save. Mm-hmm. And you know why that's so heartbreaking? Because they kill him. So we know before Ace died, he didn't want to die.
He wanted to make it out. He wanted to be saved.
He wanted to make it. He wanted to be a part of this, and yet he dies. So it makes his death that much harder, because Oda made sure we knew brave, and even though he felt deep regret for what happened and deep regret for everyone trying to save him, he still didn't want to die, and yet he does.
Yep.
Cruel.
It's just,
cruelty.
It's heartbreaking. So,
and he said, and Garp is absolutely gutted by it. Garp is sitting there and thinking like, yeah, and I can't do anything to save you, which is why Garp has the time where when Luffy comes up there, he's like, you're not getting past me. Because Garp was sitting there with Ace and knows how much Ace wants to live, and it reminds him of who he is and what he means to him. That's awful. And then when Luffy is at his weakest, you want me to give you another shot of energy hormones? It would kill you. You've been fighting ever since you broke out of Impel Down. Recovered from being poisoned, and your body can't take it anymore. If you force it to keep going, you are really going to die. As long as I do everything I can, I don't care if I die. Let me fight, Iva. If I don't keep fighting and they kill Ace, I just couldn't live with that. Please give me the power. Right now. Have it your way.
Oh, it's a little bit heartbreaking, huh?
because we know how crushed Luffy is going to be. We know how much this means to Luffy, and at the exact same time, we know how. So he's literally setting us up to have the biggest heartbreak we can in this time. Like, absolutely trying to set us up so this heartbreak hits harder than anything else. Okay, let's go get our heart broken. Come on, everyone. Follow me. We're going to go have our heart broken now.
All right, we're going for heartbreak. We're going. Everybody get aboard the heartbreak train.
Okay.
Okay.
Straw Hat Boy, if you collapse again, you're finished. The energy hormone only tricks your body. It doesn't fix your energies. Out of the way. Luffy runs up. He punches Kobe in the face. He's like, Kobe, I don't have any time to fight you. Da 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 da. Punches Kobe in the face. Moves up. I forgot how dangerous they were. Monkey D. Luffy, says the crazy, crazy Kuma. Boa puts herself in front of him. I can't. Attack aborted. Out goes Luffy again, flying up. Everybody is trying to push through to give him some room. Commander Marco gets hit in the chest with sea prisms. Commander Jozu is down. Everybody is absolutely last stand moment, pressing themselves. I am Whitebeard. Whitebeard is fighting with the last moments of his strength. That's all the more reason to stay alive until I've guided my sons towards a brighter future. Right, Ace? What are they doing? They're standing behind Whitebeard. You don't need to understand it. We're here to defend Pops' pride. You're too blasted loyal, you little fools. And then we see the two men raise their swords up on top of the plinth where we have Ace waiting, and everybody screams, Ace! You don't think I can stop it? Take a good look, Whitebeard. Stop! Screams Luffy, and the two guards collapse. The haki of the Supreme King. You've got to be kidding me, says Okiji. Hey, save you right now, Whitebeard. Oh my, that boy. And then Luffy. Boom.
You cut out Luffy what?
Luffy gets up to the top. The haki of the Supreme King. It seems he did it instinctively. There's a scary power hidden deep inside of that kid. So you really were born. And then Ace says, you too, Luffy? So we know that Ace also has the power. That's some power, says Ivan. Where did you learn that? Power, says Luffy. I love how often Luffy is using haki and doesn't realize the apple fall far from the tree. Hey, dragon? What?
So now we know Dragon also almost all but certainly has it.
Well, he obviously has it. There's no way he doesn't have it if they're saying that. And then Whitebeard screams from the Straw Hat, with everything you've got. Give it your best shot, boys. If you're one of the successors to the D, show me what kind of era you will create. And then a full page spread of huge people running up against them, and Luffy running through the gaps that they create, punching people, kicking people, soaring through the air, trying to get through the whole way so that he can release his brother. And then you've got the ribbon cut from Izumnuma, and she cuts the crab-like ribbon and creates a pathway for Luffy to run up. And you're like, oh, here it is. He's going to go. And he gets to the top. Grandpa, get out of my way. I'm not going, Luffy. I'm the vice admiral in this navy. And you're like, there's no way. Is this old man really going to fight Luffy? Is this really how this is going to end? Because we already know that Luffy gets his ass kicked against his grandfather. His grandfather is incredibly strong. It's the hero Garp. The bridge is going to fall. Do something, Straw Hat Boy. I've been fighting pirates since long before you were born. If you want to pass, you'll have to kill me first. Straw Hat, Luffy. That's the path you've chosen. Old man. And then it shows all of the little flashbacks. Don't be such a baby, Luffy. You have to grow up and be stronger than anybody. The pirates will have your guts for garters. I can't do it, Grandpa. Just get the hell out of the way. Do it, or Ace will die. And then, Luffy, you are an enemy of the state. And he goes to punch him, and Luffy absolutely flattens him. But you know, because you have met him,
Yeah.
that there's no way in hell that's possible. And Luffy gives him the huge frickin' punch. Vice Admiral Garp, and Garp falls backwards off of it. Before you're a father, before you're a Navy man, Garp, says Buddha. Because God, yeah, we all know that could never happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Luffy up at the top with Buddha, that piece of crap. And he says, Luffy, look, Fleet Admiral Sengoku is using his powers. Do you think I will allow you to escape? Absolutely thought we were fully screwed when Luffy was fighting against the Buddha. And then there, Mr. 3 put the candle wall around them and saved them. That was massively unexpected. Because in Impel Down was, I'm not going to say a coward, because he wasn't a coward, but he wasn't exactly like happy to be on their side. Like, oh yeah, let's for sure do this. He was like, no, let's get the hell out of Impel Down. This place is the worst place in the history of ever.
Let's fucking
and yet
go.
There he is. There he is, Mr. 3, standing right over top of Ace and Luffy and absolutely creating a barrier once again. And Mr. 3 is bringing it every time, over and over again. We've got him making Luffy the gloves and the boots so we can kick ass against the poison. Like Mr. 3 really brought it. And I disparaged the shit out of Mr. 3 in the past.
When you first met him, you were very anti Mr. 3. And I was thinking of this moment when I was like, yeah, one day you're going to be grateful for those wax powers.
And I was like, wax powers suck, and I hate this kid. He's grody. And here, Mr. 3 creating like this strong-ass barrier over top of him. And I was just like, absolutely awesome, my dude. I stand massively corrected. You are freaking killing it, and I am so glad you're on our side now. And I love that the people we met in the beginning are coming back to be friends and be part of our team. What could you like more? And yeah, like for sure, yeah, he did earn his treatment in the first time. For sure he did. But yeah, he was a piece of crap, etc. And yeah, these people were fighting for their own things. But watching them come back now and fight on our side,
it's really good.
It's such retribution. It feels like we're getting to see Luffy is. He's got our bad boys, our 1 to 10s, all out here, and he even. She's a freaking crew member.
Oh, like you missed one bit there.
She's a crew member. We even have Robin. Like out of our first couple of islands, and how we have all of the people that we met on Drum Island for the secret society that comes out to be in Alabasta, who are all fighting against Vivi, who we still love. And now these bastards are our bastards.
That's the best way to put it. These bastards are our bastards is exactly how it feels. Like, yeah, these are still dicks, but like, fuck yeah, these guys are our dudes now.
Yeah, exactly. I remember one time there was somebody on the Canucks that your dad was always like, yeah, they're the worst, but I love them because they're a Canuck. Like, do they fight kind of dirty? For sure. Are they kind of bad? For sure. But he's our bad. And so that's what they have. So I just feel like we're just watching like Luffy is kind of creating that same level of power that we see in Whitebeard, and we know that probably Red Hair Shanks and our other 4 directions or 4 winds or whatever you want to call them are, because I'm kind of leaning towards winds more and more, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong because winds are also directions, so it's hard to say.
All right.
For our 4 guys. But Luffy is kind of moving into that way, in the way that he's kind of collecting his own like huge ass navy. You know what I mean? If we get Mr. 3 out on the water and he commands a boat, so I feel like we're a collection of bastards, and we're just taking them all together and creating our own force, and it's pretty cool.
Also, I agree, everybody. Yeah. The audio issues do suck. We're doing what we can. It's the way it is, unfortunately.
Oh, is it really this bad? Am I really coming in and out that bad?
It's not the worst, but it's not great.
I'm going to try even though it'll do nothing, I'm going to try putting on a different microphone.
Well, we'll see. No, people are saying it's like 80%. More than 80% of the words are coming through. It's not every other word. Those are all exaggerations. Oh. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Okay. Am I here? Am I here?
You're there. Celio, you don't... I'm the one editing this with you guys tomorrow. You'll be on call. And, God, editing in every missing word sounds impossible. Try disabling automatic gain in your audio settings. That might be it, apparently. I think it's just Discord. Let's see if it works with the mic change. It sounds good right now.
All right, well, let's see what happens.
Oh, that's actually good quality, too.
Okay. Okay, well, let's see that happens.
Okay.
It's just Discord being Discord. It's not hard. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so I love that we're collecting all of these bastards, and I really felt like when I was watching this, I was really getting to see the fruits of our labor, what it looks like to fight against people, but then when we help each other out in the jails, when we create friendships like we did with Mr. Two, who I'm not over that. I'm not over that. That was rude.
You're not over what happened to your guy?
Yeah, I have a hope. Have I cut out any at all?
No, this is actually really good now.
Okay.
So I think it was actually a mic issue. So we're gonna have to do some balancing.
I have a hope that we are going to see Mr. Two again and he's not dead. Like, it's a stupid hope given I know where Mr. Two was, but I didn't see a body. So until I see a body, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. So I realize this works better without all the highlighting I was doing, so I'm doing some simpler highlighting, by the way, so that in case people are wondering what happened with the art.
Okay. So we have Mr. Two and the key gets lost, and Mr. Two puts his wax in, which is one of my very favorite. Sorry, Mr. Three puts his wax, which is one of my very favorite things that he does, the ability to make a wax. Gets out a key and says, "Go save your brother, Straw Hat." Stunning. Stunning, Mr. Three. High five. And they go down, and I think to myself, oh my God, and get yourself it goes to here. Look inside the flames. It's a tunnel of fire. You'll never change, Luffy. You never do as I tell you, and you get yourself in trouble. And I just love that you've got big old Ace grabbing onto Luffy and pulling him through the flames. And I was thinking, like, come on, Ace. Luffy just saved your ass. The Straw Hat really did it. And I was so happy for Luffy because Ace is free. But I was so sad for me because I'm like, Ace is still going to die. But there and say, now, no matter what happens, Luffy did it. Luffy did saved Ace. What?
There was a tiny drop, but it's much better. Let's just keep going.
He saved Ace, and we know that no matter what else happens, Luffy is going to be able to get over it in a very different way, knowing that he saved his brother. Because if he didn't save his brother, then and died. There is literally there's nothing that Luffy can do to feel better again. That's it. How does he feel better? But because he did save his brother, he is going to be able to move on someday. He will be able to find the strength because he knows that he did everything that he possibly could. And that's all he can do, right? Like, you can't be responsible for Ace's actions.
Mm-hmm. From this moment forward,
that just is what it.
Luffy did what he could, and he was so out of his weight class, and he still did it. He showed up to the War of the Best, where the world's strongest man was fighting the entire force of the Navy, and he made a difference.
Yeah, and he is the reason in the end. If it wasn't for Luffy, then he wouldn't have been saved. Like, Ace would not have been saved, and he wouldn't make really good. I know that we're gonna, and I can't say the thing, but this is a really important moment because everybody is hyping him. Straw Hat really did it. He set Ace free. all those impossible stunts back at Impel Down, and he finally did it. Because this is also a massive reputation boost for Luffy, right? Like, this changes the way that people see him yet again. And so when they see Luffy in the future, oh, I wonder if that's when he's going to be wearing his yellow belt. I wonder if that means something.
Also,
I just want to say,
someone with audio expertise is saying that the way that it sounds like there's issues, it seems like it's probably not a mic or settings thing. It probably is connection, like we were saying. So the lost words might keep happening. Either way. Sorry, keep going.
I'm watching the whole horizon has the pinkest pink in the world over top of the mountain.
Oh.
Almost like the mountain is emitting the mountain is emitting hockey. It's absolutely incredible.
Sounds very, very pretty. Outside my window, city. That's it.
Yeah, I've been.
City at night, a little bit of snow.
Yeah, I still win.
Yeah, no, you
okay. I know I said it before, and we're here now, people. So grab your tissue,
guys. It's sad time. We have passed the beautiful, fun moment that the art is based off of, and we're entering a different territory.
Time for everyone to prepare themselves with tissue and with drink.
We already talked about it, but now we actually reached it in the story, so we have to really talk about it. Look, I know you want to slap Ace. We're going to talk about the important character meaning of Ace being a dumbass here. Because it means something.
I don't even remember what I said. You know that?
All right, then I'll say what you said, and you'll jump in. That is just what we do. I remember what you said, and then it reminds you of what you said, and then you take the ball.
Thank goodness, because I just say things like I'm in a fever fugue. I think for my brain, and then I'm like, what did my brain say? And you're like, this. And I'm like, okay. That is a good way to be. You know what? Neither one of us could do our work then without the other. You know what?
We're just like Luffy, honestly.
Yes, we are. Here we go. So they're back to back, just like they are in the picture. Can you still fight, Luffy? I was so happy for Luffy to have this moment with his brother. Ace's fire is that of the Logia type. Do not let him get away. And you had saved me. Thanks, Luffy. I couldn't have done it without that Whitebeard guy's help. But you're still surrounded, and you're all gonna die. And then we have got one of the most insane battles. He's my brother. I'd appreciate it if you didn't hurt him. And Fire Fist Ace just gives his all. And it's, hurry up, execute Fire Fist in the Straw Hat. Look at them work. Look at that teamwork. I was so grateful that they got to fight back to back for this time.
Yeah.
Because this is the only time that Luffy is going to get to have this opportunity.
And he gets to be a pirate at sea with his brother, fighting together.
Exactly. The two of them get to live their dream. They're standing back to back, fighting as pirates out in the wide world together. Like, what? What a gift. You've gotten a lot stronger, Luffy. I'll surpass you. And then as they're fighting, and they're going to make it, and go on, and they're calling. It may be... Did something made it stop, and they're trying to drag it back? Pops, don't you... A father bury his sons, and you actually think that little jab of yours hurt me? Everybody grows old and dies eventually. We've done what we've come here to do. Pops, your business here is finished, and now these are my final orders as your captain. Listen carefully, Whitebeard pirates. You must all survive and return to the new world. And Ace screams, Pops! And everyone is screaming, including He-Man. He has a character who looks like He-Man, and standing beside him, who's screaming, and I'm like, did he really make He-Man fight beside Skeletor?
Yeah.
Yeah, he really did. Get away from here, my sons. Pops, no! No, old man! And this is where it should have ended. They should have just been like, NBD. Now you can go on your own way. And you can't follow the orders from your captain? Get out of here, you lazy brats. Kill Whitebeard. You have to hurry. Ace! Get ready to set sail. And Luffy's calling after him. The whole world sees everything. Captain Bucky, the video transponder snail, has finally regained consciousness. They can all watch me take Whitebeard's head, says stupid Buggy. What happened to Whitebeard after he was stabbed? Suddenly the whole audience can see everything again. And they get to see the bravery of Whitebeard standing there at the front fighting against the government. They get to fighting with all of their heart. Ace! Oh, don't let the old man's sacrifice go to waste. Don't worry, I won't, says silly Ace. You have to use... I have little use for soft words, but tell me one thing, Ace. Were you happy as your father? Of course I was. And then everyone sees that the execution ended. And then Ukanu says, you free Ace and then turn tail and run? The Whitebeard pirates are a pack of cowards, but considering who your leader is, that's no surprise. Whitebeard's a loser from a bygone era. Now, this dude, does he have a method of, and this was just my understanding of looking at this moment, does he have a method of hockey when he's poking at somebody and trying to provoke them, that he's able to push it out to be more powerful and to get under their skin
you
more?
know I can't give an answer there, but he's at the very least incredibly good at manipulation.
Well,
like definitely
he
knows.
He has to have some kind of hacky that is aiding him here, because this just feels like it's too much the way that he's able to get under people's skins. Like, he's really able.
We can make it a prediction if you want to.
No.
Because it's either that or he's just really good at knowing what to say to convince people.
And then Ace goes, a loser? Take that back. Take back what you said. Ace, don't. Just keep running. And everyone is telling him to run. Been saved, for God's sakes. This whole thing was coming here to save you, Ace. The name of this era is Whitebeard. Ace, no. And then that piece of crap rears back and he's going to attack Luffy. And it's in that moment that Ace realizes his mistake and realizes that he's made Luffy vulnerable after everything that Luffy has done to save him, that he's just about to watch his brother get killed because he had to go back and be hot-headed. And the fist goes right through the center of Ace. And I was like, is that going to kill him? It can't kill him. It can't kill him. He's made out of fire. But it doesn't matter. The lava meets Ace and it just burns him from the center. Ace is hit. Ace goes down. Everyone around is silent and watching. There's a hole raging through this. It's no use. You're still alive, eh? Everyone comes after him. They're all fighting. I can just buy and by sacrificing myself, says old Jim. I was prepared to die from the start. Keep holding me down, Sengoku. If you don't, I'll kill Sakazuki. I love that part.
That's so
that
good.
That made me very, very happy.
Garp, just hold me back or I will punch that magma man to death. Hold me down
or I will kill him. And then Ace falls down and leans on top of Luffy. I'm so sorry, Luffy. Ace, your wounds need treating. I'm sorry you didn't get to save me. I'm sorry. What are you saying? Somebody get him a doctor. Luffy. What are you saying? Are you going to die, Ace? You promised me, remember? You said you would never die. Isn't that what you told me, Ace? Yeah. It reminds me of Sabo. If I didn't have a little brother that needed to be taken care of, I would... Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted me. It couldn't be helped. I know. If you ever see Daden again, please give her my regards. Dying makes me nostalgic, even for death. But there's one thing I've left undone. I wasn't able to see your dream through to the end. But you, I know you can do it. You're my little brother.
Oh, God.
I can't even shout anymore. What I really All I wanted to know was whether I should have been born. I can't even shout anymore. Luffy, listen to my next words carefully. What I say to you. And Luffy, I was demon spawn, the son of the devil. But Luffy, thank you for loving me.
Oh my god. That's the saddest last words. Oh. Thank you for loving me hurts me so much.
Thank you for loving me? Did you just put the thing up on the screen?
Yes, as soon as you started describing his death.
How could he be such a jerk?
Seeing Chad get mad at me distracts me
God.
from the sadness. It's like a coping mechanism at this point.
That might be one of the saddest endings to a person's life I have ever seen. Thank you for loving me.
It's so fucking
Holy
brutal.
shit. Thought it might be one of the, like, yeah, I get it. Oda is incredible. That writing is ridiculous.
It's very good.
But was there anyone who read that and didn't just sit there and die inside a little?
I need to tell, I've told you this a little bit, but I need to reiterate how hard the cope was. I wasn't caught up at this point. I didn't catch up for a few more years of publication. So but I've done some digging on the history, and people were in such denial that despite those last words and the chapter being called The Death of Port Gustiace, people were saying, but he's going to get back up and he's going to feel confidence in who he is and embrace that he's the son of the devil. And the next chapter is going to be called The Birth of Goldie Ace. And then the next chapter came out, and I think it's called like Rage Without without Sense or something like that. And people were like, oh, he's dead. Like, I think people truly didn't believe that it could be real.
Watching Luffy's face, there's an image where he's just screaming up, voiceless screaming, and his eyes are white and he's shaking, and everyone around him is trying to kill him. And I almost got you to draw that one too. Like, it was heart crushing. And then the rage that goes through Whitebeard, and he just takes on every single person. And he's like, we're cut off from Pops. I'm not finished. And the battle just becomes Whitebeard's vindication of hell death. Like, you knew this man was going to do it. You knew he wasn't making it out. You're like, oh, that's it. Whitebeard has decided to go down. He can't handle being alive.
Right now our lovely editor is suggesting that you watch that scene in the anime on stream, and I'm thinking that might be too far.
No, that is awful. Cricket.
She'll die.
I can't do that, Cricket. I can't do it, Cricket.
Oh no. I'm trying to decide if I like their names, if I like brothers, or if I like textless. Textless is smooth. I think simple benefits this. I keep trying to add to it, but I think this is done. Oh. Cricket, I love making Mama watch things on stream, but I don't think anyone should have to cry that much on stream.
And then what wondering eyes should appear, but a giant big face and an ugly...
Yeah, it's time. He here.
He is a piece of crap, and I hate...
You know what? Valid.
Yeah. And the people that he pulled out of prison are...
terrible?
Like, remember when I said he needs to get himself a crew?
Yeah, you said he needs a crew because he's like, he doesn't have what he needs to succeed. and everything he was doing was just to get a crew. He wanted a shortcut to a strong crew.
Blackbeard and I were definitely on the same page with that. Yeah. And I hate him. I don't know if I've mentioned that in the last 2 minutes.
I love him. He's terrible.
Okay. He's the worst freaking thing. He's almost as disgusting and horrible as Craphead.
Okay.
Don Domingo D stupid face. And when they all show up, I actually thought to myself, like, I stopped for a minute because I was like, why is Blackbeard here? What role does he think he's gonna play here? Like
it doesn't make sense at first, right? Like you're thinking, what the fuck is he doing here? He only shows up when he has something to gain, and I can't reason what benefit there is to him being here.
Well, legitimately, because Oda pulled a switcheroo, a little fast switcheroo, because I was like, honestly, Blackbeard doesn't do any ever, and he doesn't do things unless he's ready to do it.
Yeah.
And he actually can possibly win. Like, he just never would put himself in a position where he had the possibility of losing.
Without it being necessary, without the reward being incredibly valuable.
Being absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, this is a weird choice. And I kept looking at the whole situation and thinking, like, does he have something to gain? But because Oda the author, so he can do what he wants, there's no way we know that he can have two dragon fruit and the way that he...
Wait, we have to go back because I forgot to remind you of your observation about Ace's death, but I do want to get into this because I think it's one of my favorite things in writing, and this made me realize something about writing horror that is so important, along with the dream I had, but we won't get into that. Your observation about Ace, that was so essential. This is something you came up with, which was... Ace put Luffy in danger by turning around for his pride. And someone in chat said Luffy would have done the same thing in this situation. But you pointed out he wouldn't have because he didn't give up on his dream, because he didn't become someone's subordinate. He had to learn lessons about leadership and learn and learn that you put people in danger when you act selfishly. He had lessons.
My point that I made was that he got those lessons when, especially in Alabasta, with Vivi, and Vivi just directly looked at him and said, you're a, well, she didn't say shitty, but she said, you're a crappy captain, crappy leader. And Luffy was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, well, these are the things that your ship looks like, and you're putting people at risk, and it's ridiculous. And because of this, now we're all in this bad position because of you. So because of you, we're now possibly going to die. You're a bad leader. Sometimes you have to supplicate yourself. Sometimes you have to bend over and take it and allow people to say things to you that you don't like and just say, thank you very much. And sometimes you have to suck up. Just is what it is, Luffy. And you don't do that. And then Luffy was like, holy shit, you're not wrong. So Luffy was directly taught by Vivi in the past what it looked like to be a good leader, and that sometimes you just had to take it on the cheek. Then we saw him do it again, and he remembered the lessons because Vivi said it. He remembered the lessons of Red Hair Shanks and how Red Hair Shanks didn't fight. It was stupid. It wasn't the time for it. So he realized that those two lessons weren't even separate. They were similar things. And so connect them together, and he realized, oh yeah, okay, I need to be a better person here. It isn't all about me and my pride. And when somebody attacks my pride is nothing. More important is the goal for my crew, for myself to carry on. And because of these lessons that he learned them because he was a leader. He only had his own crew. He never worked under somebody else. And so ship look like in a very different way. And so then when you look out to Ace and you see that he started on his own, but then he became somebody else's person, their second command. And that's great for him, but he didn't have to supplicate yourself and to allow yourself to take it on the chin and to be a proper leader because he wasn't at the top. So Whitebeard was able to. You saw Whitebeard shake it off and be like, I don't give a shit. I'm a leader. Piss off. Put me down all you want. But Ace couldn't handle it because Ace was a bad leader. He had never been trained. And I hate saying it because you know I love me some Ace.
Yeah.
But Ace just wasn't the leader that Luffy was. So the greatest strength that Luffy had in the moment is he understood leadership, and he knows that sometimes that means you have to eat crow. Ace never got that lesson.
And it ties into something that you've been pointing out about Ace since the beginning, which is we don't understand how Luffy could be the one who's supposed to be king of the pirates when Ace is better in every way, but this is the way that he's not. Is Luffy has learned to be a leader. He has learned to be a king.
Exactly.
He understands what it means to put people under you in danger. And
yes,
Ace didn't know that, and because of that, he put Luffy in danger, and the only way to save him was to die. And I think it's so integral that in Ace's death, we finally see what it is that Luffy has better than Ace, and it's leadership.
Exactly.
And you're right, it's because of Vivi.
And so realized that it isn't, and it wouldn't have worked. We wouldn't have been able to understand it as readers unless danger, because then we saw exactly what Vivi taught him. Look what you did. You didn't supplicate, you didn't turn your cheek, and so because that's you. And so when Ace dies, he does put Luffy directly in, irresponsibly in danger. And so this, I think, is also going to continue to strengthen Luffy's resolve about leadership, because now Luffy has seen it again in action, what it looks like when you don't learn to just say, let that go. That doesn't matter. Leadership means sometimes eating crow.
So I'm seeing
this is just one more place where we're going to see Luffy learn that lesson.
I'm seeing people talk about how we need more Vivi love in the One Piece fan base, and I think it's understandable why she's underrated, because people often see the people that travel with the Straw Hats as having a role on the ship, like they're trying to fit them in like a crewmate. But anyone who travels with the Straw Hats and isn't a crewmate doesn't need a role. They need to be teaching the crew something. And Vivi taught Luffy how to lead, what leadership means, and what like having people you're responsible for really, really means. That's what she brought to them.
Yeah, and so I think what's really neat here is I don't know if people always catch just how deeply Oda has written the piece, because Alabasta comes back and says to us, look at all this incredible, important relationship between, like, because when it first happens, you're like, God damn, Vivi, you're pouring out the shade right now. But she was right. And Luffy also taught her at the same time, because remember, he said sometimes it means you do have to put people in danger, Vivi. Like, it doesn't always work out that way. So they helped each other 100%. But you can see we're not a leader. Ace can't be the Pirate King because he hasn't had the training that Luffy has had. And that training, there's Shanks, but mostly it came from being in the circumstances, learning from what you did, because Vivi taught him.
Absolutely.
That was so important. And I was just like, God dang, Oda, that was absolutely amazing. You layered that all the way back to Alabasta with those beautiful lessons. And then we get to see the fruition of it right here. That's freaking incredible. Yeah, amazing.
It's incredible.
Okay.
So now
let's go back into the hell that is the hell.
Blackbeard is here. So Oda sets up the expectation. We can't understand why Blackbeard's here. It doesn't fit his character. He goes where he needs to. He does everything for risk reward. What does he have to benefit? He already has a devil fruit, so what does he have to benefit? And we can't imagine that he could have 2 devil fruits. Now, here's why this is genius writing, and here's what you should take away as a writer. Set rules. And if you ever want to create fear and confusion, and you ever want to have an audience feel terrified, save your rule breaks sparingly, but don't be afraid to break the rules you make. It makes a character or a situation so much more viscerally terrifying when someone can break the rules, because you suddenly don't know how much they can break them, what it means, and what the world how the world reacts to its rules being broken. It's so powerful. So if you're trying, especially horror, be willing to break your rules as a writer.
I absolutely agree. Because that's why I said in this thing, because I consider myself pretty good at forecasting what's going to happen in a story. I'm like, yeah, this says this and this event says this. And when this happened, I was like, okay, I stopped and I was like, what the hell is this bastard here for?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know, and I wouldn't find out on my own because he was going to break his own rules. And so there was no finding it out. There was no forecasting, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love when I can't predict what's going to happen. I can't even tell you how grateful I am to writers when they do that. Your dad doesn't let me tell him what I think is going to happen in movies anymore. He says it's not fun to watch movies when I tell him exactly what's going to occur later on in the movie. Weird? When I'm like, oh, and he's like, stop doing that. And I'm like, but it's fun for me. And then he's like, but it's not fun for me. And that's a good point. So he breaks his own rules so dynamically, because earlier he's like, yeah, definitely no one can have more than one fruit. He sets it up in Annie's lobby. He talks about why they can't and why it's really important and and then he kills that by making a workaround, and that is freaking genius. And then I love too, for me, not for them, that the Blackbeard is the one who goes, you're still alive, the man Roger is waiting for is definitely not Teach. And they go through this whole thing. The whole world will be turned upside down. Someone will find it. The day will come. The One Piece does exist.
And can you imagine?
And then the Buddha's like,
can you imagine you're Sengoku and you set up everything about today to destroy Roger's legacy? Buggy turns on the TV for his fucking promo show, and the entire world, because of what you've done,
the entire world sees it.
Is shown the most powerful pirate in the world on his deathbed, who people know died because of your trickery and manipulation, who dies protecting his family, declares the One Piece is real.
And it's so beautifully good, because now you've shown you're not necessarily the good guy. So you've just made Luffy's job that much easier, as Luffy is trying to unite sides and find good people. And then you've shown that, so you've shown you're bad, you actually have evil intentions, and then that you've been lying, and then you show that there is a vacuum. And I just want to say something. Do not let me forget about Blackbeard and vacuum in a minute.
Okay.
And then you show that there is a power vacuum, and then you show that you intentionally tried to block everyone from this, because it becomes clear that this feed isn't the regular government feed. So it becomes clear that you were trying to stop people from seeing this.
Yep.
That's awesome. So the thing about a vacuum is, I realized all of a sudden what makes Blackbeard so goddamn terrifying is there is a sentence that I love in science that I think about all the time, because it's true in every manner, in every walk of life, in every single part of our existence. And that is, nature abhors a vacuum. And for those of you who don't know what abhors means, it means despises, hates, or can't live with a vacuum. Blackbeard is a vacuum now. His power with his fruit makes him a vacuum. He creates black holes that do nothing but suck in darkness, and they suck in life, they suck in everything, and it pulls it away. So nature abhors him. He is the exact opposite of nature. He is unnatural, which makes him a much more terrifying foe. So Oda literally wrote, as a main bad guy in this series, he wrote evil that's a vacuum. And that's freaking genius. It steals happiness, light, people. It sucks everything in. And then you were like, that is the most evil it can get. And you were wrong, because then you find out one of the other things it can do when this person is dying is suck in his power.
Yep.
And now we also have to ask ourselves, can it only have two?
Yeah. Can you do more? We don't fucking know.
Can we only have two? We don't know.
We're not going to get into the Cerberus theory today, or on the Blackbeard video. I don't think it's necessary.
Far into the future, What if far, far into the future, there is another thing that he wants and he is just waiting for that moment, and then he's going to be in the right place, right time to take that power as well? We don't know. So
Yep.
just when you thought it was the worst it can get, you say to yourself, holy shit, he's a vacuum that sucks in and steals power. So he is the thing that nature abhors. Everything natural about him. And it's absolutely brilliant. I was like so here for it.
He's such a perfect villain. Like, I love Teach as a force in this world so goddamn much. He is a perfect threat to the world. And it is given a power we have seen is probably the only power we've seen so far that on its own can just destroy an island. Like, he can just choose to destroy an island now.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway,
terrifying.
yeah, when I was watching this, I was absolutely blown away because this is, for me, this is a thing that I tell kids all the time. If somebody who's a bully in a school just suddenly goes away, then there's a vacuum of power.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to slowly make them go away so that it doesn't cause a vacuum. You can't just immediately take them away, or somebody will rise up and become a bully within its place. If you are in any kind of a power vacuum, in nature, if there's a vacuumous area, it will be filled in. In politics, if the right wing suddenly loses power, somebody will step up to take that role. Nature abhors a vacuum. And so to make the evil guy the vacuum, that's what he is. I was just like, how genius can you get?
And
okay, we need to look at this page.
But he also shows up creating a political vacuum by executing Whitebeard, by taking one of the pillars of stability from the world. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Everything he does is creating vacuums.
Yep.
He destabilizes and creates vacuums wherever he goes. So you know how I was talking about how it's just light and darkness?
Yeah. Oh.
It isn't just light and darkness. Sorry,
Someone's
go ahead.
also saying that his fruit isn't the reason he can take powers, because in the encyclopedia, it's implied that the fruit isn't the reason he can have two powers. We don't know if it's the reason he can take them out of people, because I want to highlight that he can't turn into a substance, right? Think about the fact that Crocodile can't turn into sand to evade attacks when he's affected by his weakness, water. What is the weakness of darkness? Light. And he needs to throw a black tarp over Whitebeard to be able to do whatever he does. Likely, in my opinion, blocking out all the light of the sun makes him able to turn into darkness in a way he normally can't.
Yeah. So this is what I was going to say, is he creates instability in a vacuum, because he comes in and sucks away this power, and now how's this, destabilizes things. Everything he does is pulling away or vacuuming things away. Whereas Luffy creates instability in illuminating things. He illuminates the hypocrisy, the evilness, the hatred, and makes people look at things in a different way. So both of them create instability, but one of them is as a vacuum that is actually leaving holes that are going to be filled in with chaos, whereas the other one creates instability in that it creates cognitive dissonance, and people have to look at the world in a new way. So they're both creating chaotic changes, but one of them is creating dissidence and making them look at things and be like, holy shit, is this who I'm on? Am I the bad guy? Is this good? What do I believe in? Who do I want to help? Where do I want to be? They're both creating chaos. They're both searching for the One Piece. They both have a strong team behind them now of people who are going to follow them to the end. But one of them is doing it by creating vacuums, and one of them is doing it by shedding light. And I think that is the ultimate in good and evil.
I like it. I'll also say, people say that because he can suck in light, and he says it himself, it can't be his weakness. I think weakness, I'm referring to specifically as what stops him from becoming ephemeral. Crocodile can suck up and dry up water, but water is still what makes him not be able to turn intangible. So I think it can be both,
Agreed.
and we have abject proof of that with Crocodile, where he both can destroy water
Agreed.
and water can stop him from turning immaterial. So genuinely, the fact that Blackbeard can suck up light, in my opinion, doesn't at all imply that he isn't made solid by light.
Yeah, they are both terrorists. That's actually true, but
Yeah.
they're just terrorists in a different way, and that's fine. That's what we're here for. We signed on for the terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's give Whitebeard his due here.
Yeah. God, Whitebeard.
Even in death, even with half his face gone, he would never fall. He would be remembered, forever remembered, as a monster for the way he destroyed his enemies that day. In this one battle alone, he suffered 267 sword wounds. He was struck by 152 bullets and 46 cannon blasts, and even suffered one coward's wound. Neither that mighty body nor his pirate's pride. God damn, that's brilliantly beautiful.
Yep.
And then along comes this awesome moment where we can see the historical thing. In a blink of an eye, the news spreads throughout the world. Whitebeard's pirate has fallen. They tried to save Roger's son Ace, lost their captain Whitebeard. Historical events spoken for generations, but those who witnessed with their own eyes could only stare in silence. The age of 72, the man Edward Newgate, equal parts Pirate King, the great captain of the Whitebeard pirates, died in the battle at the Bay of Marineford. I just love that he continues to stand. But then, boom, this tarp of darkness goes over. Now, let's begin. And he, I can't wait, and sucks in, whoosh. All of a sudden, where does he go? And sucks in all of his power. And you're just like, what the shit did I just see? That is one of the most terrifyingly evil things I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to give the world the greatest show. And Luffy can't come out of it, and Jinbei is trying to save him, and he's trying to move him across. If I die, can you please look after my brother? And old Jim said, no, I mean, unless I genuinely like him, I'm going to refuse to help and protect him.
Yeah.
Like, obviously.
He'll have to earn that.
I've got people that I need to take care of. And I can't just give up on those people and give up on my own dreams and hand over my time and energy and person to protect somebody. And then he says, I have decided to protect this man with my life. God. Oh, old Jim. Oh, that is such an incredible moment for all of us. Because we're just sitting there in devastation, and Luffy can't care for himself right now. And to have old Jim decide, like, I love this kid so much. And he calls him a man, too. And this is the first time that I have heard anyone refer to Luffy as a man. Up until this moment, I've only heard people...
I think Zoro does
Pardon?
saying he's the man who'll be king of the pirates.
He says something like this boy or something will be king of the pirates.
I thought Zoro does. I thought it on.
Oh, maybe he does.
On Thriller Bark.
But then this would be the first time that anyone not in his crew called him a man.
Yeah.
Everyone is like this upstart boy, this kid,
Yeah.
this da-da-da. And old Jim says, I have decided to protect this man with my life.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt like Luffy was being seen for this first time. And old Jim did it when Luffy was literally at his weakest.
Yeah.
Could not move. His brain was shattered by his brother's death. He was of no help. If he had been left, he's dead. Absolutely dead. He cannot defend himself. And old Jim stands there and decides, nope. I have great admiration for him. I'm going to make sure he lives. I will put my life in front of him to keep him safe. Oh, damn you, old Jim. You're kicking ass.
I remember you had wondered, speaking of this handoff where Luffy is being carried person to person to get him to safety. You had wondered when you accidentally saw a later picture of Luffy where he got a scar on his chest. Because you said it was a really big scar and looked really bad.
Yes.
So
yes, I know. I see it.
I'm just saying.
Here.
I'm just saying. I
Like we
remember
see
you wondering what happened.
Yeah, and now he can never ever like. There's two big ass scars that Luffy is gonna have to bear now. One because he's a stupid, and one is a reminder of what he did. And then to have everyone say, "Protect Ace's brother. Ace's family is our family." Ugh. All of Ace's crew standing up and protecting him. Shut up. Out of the way, Jimbei, says our great good man. I won't let you lay a finger on that straw hat boy. Wink. And then what does Blackbeard do once he gets a sinkhole and once he shows off to the entire world that he just stole Whitebeard's powers? And you're like, holy shit, he is going to fight. He's going to start taking people down. But he's my era begins. And then I was like, oh, this is going to get messy. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's Blackbeard.
Huh.
And Blackbeard decides, yeah, this isn't the time for it. Like, I'll F around a little bit and I'll play with it. I'm going to start by trying to sink Marineford for a while. But the second that other people show up, Blackbeard is like, ooh.
I mean, he wants to flex his new power. He wants to have fun, but also, like, he wants to win, and there's too many people here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great. It's quite perfect because you need to have that because we need to be reminded about who Blackbeard is again.
Yeah.
And so that's perfect. He goes, he flexes his muscle. He's seen on television as being this like force of damn nature. And you're like, oh my God, things are going to get crazy. And instead, what do we get? Well, this is neither the time nor the place. I'm going to need to get out of here. And you're like, that is so Blackbeard.
My era begins soon. Pretty soon. Not today.
Not exactly now.
Not like
you're
this
gonna
second.
see it for sure. That's exactly what I heard in my head. Is something like that. My era begins. Oh shit! Is that Red-Haired Shanks? Oh, who's that? Oh yeah, no.
Wait, Shanks is here. Fuck.
Pretty soon, you're gonna see it in a while.
Garp looks like he wants to kill somebody.
I love that Law has a submarine because I had thought the other thing was a submarine. And so when I found out that Law had a submarine, I was like, oh my God, I love me a submarine.
You get a submarine.
And I love that Law showed up. Get these two in here. Hurry, I'm a doctor. Oh, God, so good, Law. You are so good. I don't care. People like to hate Law, I think, because people like to not like people that a bunch of people like.
Yeah, no, people want to be contrarian. Like, that's true.
Yeah, but I want to say to people like, dude, you want to know why people like people sometimes? Sometimes they're just awesome, for God's sakes.
Oh, also people are pointing out Kobe helped delay the war long enough for Shanks to arrive.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
He stands in front of Akainu when he wants to keep killing.
I've had a bunch of people say that they just don't like Law.
Oh, there's a few people in chat who, when Law was Mama Drock's favorite, Supernova, were like, of course! That's their voice. That's what they sound like.
And I was like, why? Because Law rocks.
I feel like I'm being rude to someone by saying that's what they sound like, but also, like, you know, let people like Law. I don't want to bully people. I feel rude now.
Be nicer then. That's the key.
Yeah.
If you feel bad, be better.
I'm sorry. You don't sound like that probably. And if you do, I don't know, like work on how you talk.
I like that they say to the crowd as everyone is panicking, please don't panic, everyone. Stay calm. But seek a safe haven in the Northern Islands immediately and evacuate the highland around Groves 40 and 50.
McBear, it wasn't you then, because whoever said it was actually saying it. They were saying it upset. Don't worry. It wasn't you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, be nice then. Okay. Let's read this one statement that Blackbeard makes so that we can enjoy it more when he decides to leave. No one can stop me. I will destroy everything. I will swallow up everything. And then you leave.
I will. I honestly love it. I love from hardcore flexing, like I am unstoppable, I'm the best too. I'm just gonna dip.
And I love that the bear went and picked up Luffy to run him across and bring him into the submarine. I love.
Thank you for gifting subs, D-Man. That's so nice of you.
I'm not on that page, so D-Man, thank you.
Yeah, by the way, the text is there because I'm not finishing this drawing. There's not time. The first one was done so much faster than I expected. I'm just messing around.
What are you drawing?
Whitebeard holding Luffy. I didn't put any work into the composition. I just needed to be doing something.
I'm gonna come and see. It better not be. Oh, thanks a lot for that. Okay, let's go back to the Beppo world. Love for Beppo, because Beppo is the amazing. So Beppo gets our boy and is running him back, like carrying him like a small little package. And then outside, we're like, there's a ship. What's he doing here? Why is one of the four emperors here? Well, if we're going to be honest, there's more than one of the four emperors here, but one of them has been eviscerated.
Okay, actually, you know what? There was only ever one at a time, if you think about it.
Yeah, truly. But then in he comes, it's Red Hair Shanks, and he leans down and picks up the hat. I've come to put an end to this war. Oh, Shanks, my friend, you never disappoint. You know?
He finally did something.
Yeah, and then Garp says Shanks is the one who dragged Luffy into piracy. Not really. Luffy just always felt like he wanted to be a pirate.
Oh my god.
But maybe also.
Garp says that, and Shanks is like, actually, that's your neglect.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how they're like, why don't you just give it to him? And he says, to see him now would violate our agreement. Right, Luffy?
Oh.
And he hands the hat off to be given to him. And I just think that that's pretty incredible that he stays away from Luffy and allows Luffy to be cared for by the people who are there. And then our Boa, same thing. She fights on the side, looks like she's still part of the Navy. Listen, you will report to the Navy that I was one of the 7 warlords of the sea. We'll finish off Straw Hat Luffy. Acts like she's out to find him, to kill him. Like, everyone, the work everyone does here to care for Luffy is just so indicative of the inspiring way that he makes people feel like they're part of his world. Like, to have this amount of charisma is just bizarre.
Yep.
And then Buggy, everyone being like, don't give me that. Buggy says to him, I'll hold a grudge against you, Shanks. You just use me as your errand boy. And then all the guys are like, look at his attitudes to one of the 4 emperors. Captain Buggy, we'll follow you wherever you go. My God, they're standing hard.
I mean, he did give sass to one of the 4 emperors. They're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. I love how ragtag Shanks's group of pirates look like when they're all standing there together.
They look like the fucking dad band.
They really do. They look so dad band, ragtag. Dad band. Goddamn, let me go back to them. That is the exact right description of them. Let's give them all instruments instead of weapons and see what comes out.
Shanks is the lead singer. Lucky Roo is the bassist. Usopp, I feel like, has drum vibe to me. Ben Beckman's a guitarist, for sure. For sure. Look at that man.
And this is incredible, because this is the thing that we were talking about, that Vivi and Red Hair Shanks taught Luffy. Red Hair Shanks comes in. You're thinking he's about to kick some ass. He's about to take some numbers. Now you're in trouble. It's Red Hair Shanks. And Red Hair Shanks instead says, he goes, yeah, we'll fight you. Come on, we'll fight you. What about you, Teach, or should we call you Blackbeard? Zeha, I'll pass. I got what I wanted. This isn't the time yet for me to fight you, which is hilarious because he just talked about his era. Oh, Zeha, let's go, men. And off he goes. And then what does Red Hair Shanks do? Everybody listen. Withdraw now and allow me to save face. That is the one thing that I don't think anybody expected to hear.
Yep.
And He just came in and put a big, peaceful, soft hand over the entire situation. And I do not think anybody saw that as the flex coming. We'll see to the burial of Whitebeard and Ace. You've already broadcast the battle throughout the world. I won't allow you to go on making a spectacle of their deaths. This war is over. What? But we need to show off their severed heads to celebrate the victory. That's fine by me, red hair. I'll take responsibility for this. Thank you. That was exactly the most perfect lesson ever, because everybody is thinking that we're going to see something really different, which I think was a really good reminder, because when I was watching it, it reminded me of what Luffy learned from Shanks and Vivi.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me to put in perspective what had been wrong about Ace and how Ace wasn't the leader that Luffy is. And who just comes in and is like, I've come here to get these people. Allow me to save face. Let's be done here. And just calms everyone down. In that situation, that is exactly the opposite of what anyone would expect in the history of ever.
Yeah.
What's with the lost child? What's with
making
what
a joke
child?
about the drawing.
Let me see.
I'm not taking it as seriously because I wouldn't have time to finish it well, so I just added a funny speech bubble.
Did you just put, yo, somebody drop this?
Yeah.
The most rotten turkey in Turkeyville. Drock.
What? I think it's funny.
And then they were able to do the Paramount War has ended. Navy headquarters is victorious. The legendary pirate Whitebeard has been defeated. And it's so funny that they feel like it's a victory. They stand and watch the dust settle upon Marineford. This will force the Navy to change as well. They all feel a coming new era of bloodthirst. On the surface of their skin, Whitebeard's territory will become a sea of blood. And I love a turbulent new era has begun. Everyone is out there celebrating, and you're thinking like,
y'all, the guy who just took his place in global geopolitics is not better.
Exactly. And again, there's a vacuum, because Blackbeard is no Whitebeard. Yep. He doesn't have an entire
he's got
battalion of ships.
He's got like some strong dudes.
Exactly. So he's not out there keeping the peace. He's not out there helping to regulate the issues that come afterwards. So like, again, it's a vacuum. He created a vacuum.
And one of the places that's going to be fought over, because it was Whitebeard's territory, is Fishman Island, as people are pointing out.
Exactly. Exactly. And so when everyone's like, we have victory, I'm like, you have like beyond not victory. You don't even have loss. You have something entirely different, because loss doesn't even make ripples like this. Like, you have chaos. Yeah. What you have is chaos.
This truly was a situation where nobody won unless your name is Blackbeard. The only winner wasn't part of the fight.
Yeah, exactly. It is a definite anti-victory. And yet they're all celebrating all around the world. And to see that Luffy is like at the end and he's got on the masks and we're looking at all the problems that are going on, and Zehaha, says Blackbeard in prison, you've got nothing to lose. So how about kill each other in those cages and I'll free whoever survives at the end. At the very end. And then I was like, well, how do you decide that? They couldn't all been in the same damn cage. So I guess you just killing and taking everyone from each cage area. That is absurd. I agree. Yeah. I agree. That's pretty absurd.
Not the like best strat, but hey, it got him a crew.
But yeah, so that's what we were talking about. You're not going to go to the end of the world with people who you force to do battles to the... You're not going to get people to the end of the world and win the One Piece with people who you forced to fight in cage matches. Literally, cage matches.
Yep.
Right? To the death. Cage matches to the death.
We're not doing post-war, by the way, people who are asking about it.
No, we are not doing post-war.
Post-war is next week.
Yeah, and then we can do a lot more of the talk. We have decided, like, I like to do corkboard as we go through, unless we're talking about something this deep.
We're going to have a lot to talk about, so we'll probably have a long corkboard corner next time.
but I cannot possibly do post-war in this one. It is too corkboardy. When I started going into it, I was like, oh, this is all corkboard all the time. The narrative is whatever. Yeah.
And how does it feel to pass halfway?
Holy shit. I can't even believe I'm halfway, but stop. We have to do this one sad thing.
You're right, one sad
thing. What
thing.
chapter do we go to?
Plug and then closing segments. What a great question that is.
Does everyone know?
Kaido's counting us down, so we got to be ready. It is 580.
Okay, I'm going to 582.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
I decided.
All right, hurry up, because Kaido's down to 20. You've barely any time.
No, I'll do this. I'll do
You'll do the plug and then that.
Thing
okay.
For the tube of you.
Okay.
And then we'll do the 582.
Kaido, this is the best.
And...
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, I heard and, not 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Hi there, YouTube.
Hey.
Have you been watching this?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Whoa, shit, cool. I'm awesome?
I hope you... Yeah, you are awesome. And I hope you want to watch more of this at some other time.
Yeah, I do. That sounds great, honestly.
Okay, I'm gonna lay it out for you here.
All right.
I'm gonna give it to you straight. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. This is nothing but facts. I'm spitting hot facts straight off the top of my head here.
Damn, okay.
Okay,
all right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready for these hot takes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. It would be super base if you subscribed.
Damn, cool.
I would be here for it. Yeah, and so you should subscribe and press the little bell thing, and then honestly, we'll keep coming back. Also, press like. I'm not gonna lie. It's hurtful when you don't press like when you liked it, but on the other hand, then I remember that I often watch things and then at the end I forget to press like.
Don't add that part in.
Well, you forget.
I feel like you had a really good guilt trip going that would have convinced me. Like, I was imagining, damn, I'm YouTube and I'm hearing that, and I go, oh, wow, I would absolutely press like because of what she just said. It's mean of me if I don't. And then you add in, I wouldn't.
Listen, I would press like. Every single time I don't press like, I feel like an asshole. I even went back and went through the things that I watched before and then found the thing that I'd liked, and I was like, did I like it? I didn't, and I liked it. Don't do that to yourself, YouTube. It's not worth it. Don't put yourself through this hell. I'm here for you.
I'll just hit like.
Press like. Don't be like Mama Drop. Don't put yourself through this hell. Not worth it, man. These are my straight facts I'm spitting for you right now. All right. Is that all that we're telling them? No, that's not all we're telling them.
Okay.
Do we want to quickly tell them about if they want to be a person?
Discord?
No, not Discord.
Patreon?
If the people on the YouTube or Discord want to be a person of Patreon.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting a Patreon soon. We've decided that we're going to have 2 really basic tiers. One will be $1, and $1 will mostly be just to help us out, but it'll also give you access to patron-only streams. The first patron-only stream we're going to do is going to be when we start after post-war. We're going to take a break. After we start reading again, to kick that off, Mama Drock is going to do a live reading of the first few chapters. We might be, depending on how long it takes, we might be able to get the whole first little mini arc done. That'll be live so that you can get a live reaction on stream to Mama Drock's opinions of all of the Straw Hats designs in the second half of the series. Whitebeard's not naked. He just doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah, so those are for $1 Patreon people. We figure that it's not a huge flex, but then we'll do some extra character stuff for Patreon people, and it's about
yeah. And then $3, same thing, but you also get access to high-res artwork because it'll only be low-res versions publicly available from that day forwards, and high-res only for the $3 and up patrons. And then we are ironing out the fine details on the higher tiers. We have ideas, we just need to get the details ironed out.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I came up with the coolest.
You came up with a good one.
Ever.
It's one that I think we, yeah. No, it's
so
a good
cool.
one. It's a good one.
It's so cool.
Figuring out how to make it work. I really want to wait until I don't want to talk about it until I figured out how we're gonna do it, like the details of it, but it is cool.
No, it's the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have to do this drop because I am not doing this part when we come back. I have to do all of my cries now.
Okay, so we have to do the cry now.
You know what I mean? We have to do the cry now.
Right.
So I'm sorry, people.
Going ahead. Sorry, 2 extra chapters. If you were keeping up with Mama, we're going a little bit in the future.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. In the calm belt, far from the commotion of the rest of the world's dreams, the island of women in the Amazon lily, an exception to the ban of men has been made. Law's band of pirates are allowed to drop anchor in the bay so that Luffy's injuries can be treated.
Your voice was you're going too high pitched and Discord doesn't recognize it as human right now.
I swear you! And Luffy wakes up and stares towards the heavens. He's fully bandaged. Blood is dripping off of his hands as he grips his hands into fists. Where am I? Maybe it was a dream. And then he remembers Ace laying in his lap, smoking hole coming out of his back, and he screams, and he screams, and he screams. I'm so sorry, Luffy, that you didn't get to save me. And he comes back into the future and punches things that are in front of him and kerfuffles and flips out and freaks out and starts fighting with nothing that's there. And then who's standing there waiting for him? Old Jim. And old Jim looks at him and hears Ace, if I die, can you please look after my little brother? The war is over. Ace says, don't say it. Don't say anything. I twisted my cheek until it almost tore off. If it was a bad dream, I'd be awake by now. It's not a dream, is it? I've gotten a lot stronger, Luffy. I'll surpass you one day, Ace. Ace is dead, isn't he? Yes. He's dead. Who is Ace? He's going to be your older brother. Then Luffy just screams and screams and screams. That's where I'm going to end because we're going to do all of the backstory in the next one.
Yep. Oh, it's brutal. Okay, top five favorite characters? Wait. We get to do one that'll be easier first, which is...
Did we have a raid? Someone said you guys came in at the end. Was there a raid?
I missed a raid. Hello, raiders. Thank you, Breadhead, for raiding with 29 people. Amazing. Thank you. It's a bread raid. We're being raided by bread. I would love to do, if this was not Mon Piece, I would do all the cordial stuff, like ask what you were doing, but we keep it a pretty fast clip on this show. Says
the man when we're 3 hours and 43 minutes
There's a reason we try to keep a pretty fast clip on this show, because we're trying to finish at 4 hours. Thank you for the braid red, though. We're talking about Marineford. So it'll be hard to do your top 5 favorite characters, but you know what's easy is picking your number 1 least favorite character of the arc, because I think I have an idea of who it is, but there's a few characters you've hated, so it could be one of 2 people, I'm thinking.
It's the Flamingo of Jerk Jam, but
honestly,
wait, no, it's not. It's the Lava Puncher.
Okay, that's what I expected.
Yeah. It goes Lava Puncher, followed closely by Flamingo.
Akainu is your least favorite character of the arc.
I hate him so much. Oh, you have to do push-ups.
I have to do push-ups? Oh, shit. Okay, when I get back, we'll do top 5.
I want Akainu to be run over by the body of... Well, except for I'm hoping he's alive. I'm hoping my Ors Jr. is alive. And I hate the flamingo, the bird brain, the feather head.
Oh, for all the raiders, I want to show off that I did art that looked nicer earlier. Check it out. Look, it's beautiful. But then I ran out of time. Anyways.
Moving.
Top 5 favorite characters.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay,
Wait, do we want to do where Luffy is on the Luffy tier list first, or do you want to do top 5 first?
Luffy is S. Come on.
Yeah, he did great.
You putting Luffy anywhere but S? He saved Ace. Ace unsaved himself.
True. That is what happened.
Yeah. Luffy came along and saved Ace and was like, hey, do you want to live? And Ace is like, I do want to live. And then Ace was like, but first I'm going to unsave myself.
First, let me throw myself in harm's way real quick.
Yeah. Okay. My number 5. Oh my God, this person. Pangolin. Then Ace was like, psych.
So now our top 5 characters.
Number 5. Shit, who's number 1?
Everything's hard.
Holy shit.
I'm
going to be wrong no matter what.
This is the hardest one. I don't think any arc is going to be harder than this.
I can't even believe how difficult this is feeling right now.
I have no idea.
Everybody with their Nami.
Guys, she's not here.
You know what? Because on one hand, I want to make Ace number 1, right?
You know what? You're right. The placement of his left hand doesn't look right. Look, I didn't do a lot of planning this time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to. But
Ace isn't really Ace is just...
He's more an object than a character.
Really the thing. Yeah, he's less of a character in this place in that way until he is a big goof. So this is a hard one for me. But I got to be careful because I heard that I go,
yeah, we edit
all the
those
time,
out, though.
and I don't want to do that shit.
That's
I think I did it anyways. Whitebeard, number 1.
Hell yeah. Edward, number 1.
Making number 2.
Good job, Edward.
Old Jim.
Old Jim is number 2. It's so hard. It's so hard to pick. I think those are good choices.
So hard. Number 3. Oh shit. This is hard. Because I've got Ivankov. I've got literally number 3. I've got...
You did make Mr. 2 number 2 last time, I think. So wouldn't it be funny if you made Mr. 3 number 3? But also, does he deserve to beat Ivankov?
That's not why I would do it. But he can't beat Ivankov. No, Ivankov, number 3.
Yeah.
Wow. No, dude, come on. Bucky did stream, but only because he was an arrogant SOB.
Yeah, but...
Crocodile, you're right. Crocodile is amazing. I love it when you guys are always like, do this one.
It still isn't right, but it's better, so we're going to keep it. Because this isn't meant to be a finished piece.
Number 4? Yep. Number 5. Number 5?
Number 5?
Hancock.
Fair. Honestly fair. So we're down to number 4 as our last once again. I think this is your most common last number to fill out. Uh-huh.
This is hard.
This is hard. I genuinely don't think another arc will be harder for this.
I hate all of it.
Let's go back to the nice picture. Hey.
Hey, who have I picked? I picked number 1 is Whitebeard.
True.
Number 2 is whom?
You haven't put Mr. 3 yet. I just knocked over a lamp.
No, number 1 was Whitebeard. Number 2 is... Who did I make number 2?
Ivankov? No, Ivankov is number 3. Jim. Old Jim. Yeah, Whitebeard.
Number 3 was Ivankov.
Ivankov. Space.
Number 3 is Ivankov. Hancock. I'm going to make number 4 be number 3.
All right, Mr. 3 is number 4. I like it. This is so difficult. I think this list could have looked any number of ways, and it would have made perfect sense.
I'm not putting Ace on the list.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is a good list. I like your list. Um,
I'm not putting Garp on the list either. Let me say two
I
things
would have put
about
Garp
Ace
on
and
my
Garp.
list for sure. But God.
No,
Ugh.
Garp, no, because Garp's crushing story is the same as Ace's crushing story.
Uh-huh.
For me, they weren't characters that were action characters. They were characters that were emotion characters that were there for other people to have foil against.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
You know what?
So for me, they're not.
Yeah. God, it's tough.
Yeah, it was hard.
It's tough. It's tough.
It was hard. There's a bunch of people that I would like to put on. Red Potato Cheer times 1. Thank you, Red Potato.
Mr. 3 and Croc could have been on the same tier, he's saying.
Mr.
We gave him an
Croc
S tier this. We gave him an S tier. I think S instead of SS like last time is fair. Last time Luffy did even more.
He's an S tier.
Yeah.
He's an S tier. Like because we saw how he was humbled and we saw who he was, and that was fine. I liked it. I liked that for us. But he's an S tier. Yeah. Last tier he led everything. He was
the driving force.
He broke it. Yeah. The admirals for being badass. No, they can kiss my ass, actually, is what they can do. They can all kiss my ass, ace killers. Yeah.
Okay.
I know things because I read ahead to where I am. And I know things, and that's the only reason that I'm not the most devastated. So let me just put this out there. If you haven't read ahead, it's not going to fix anything. It's just not. But it is going to make the pain a little less difficult.
Yeah, a little less difficult.
And that's all I can say for you. So read ahead now. Get into the post.
I think.
Feel a little bit of hope.
I think we say goodbye now.
Yeah, we do. We're good. This was hard. I hate this arc with my whole heart.
It's so well written, though. It's so beautiful.
I understand how beautiful it is. I understand how incredible it is. I understand what genius it is.
Yep. But I
hate it so much.
It's so painful. Can someone find us a nice raid to send everybody off on? Something pleasant. Maybe someone smaller. Let's send everybody to someone smaller. Okay, Lethal Company sounds great. Pastoroni Ravioli. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I have to try to keep track of that.
Oh, thank you for loving me. Hey everyone, thank you for loving me.
Should that be your sign off?
Yes. Hey everybody, thank you for loving me. No, I don't want to be an ace. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Thank you guys so much. This is such a blast to do. I had a hard but good time. I think this is the most I've cried on stream. How about you?
Yes. Thank you everyone. You guys are so great.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you for loving us, Mama.
Thank you for
Be careful
loving
with
us.
your humans, guys.
This is so nice.
Be so careful with your humans. Have you got us into a stream yet, Druck?
I'm about to. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We couldn't do this without all of you here. This has been such a good time. I think the raid failed.
Congrats for halfway. I'm halfway. I'm halfway.
You are halfway.
I'm halfway. I don't want to brag, but I don't have a choice.
I need a new thing to raid. That one, I think they typed it wrong. Gamlord is also playing Lethal Company. Let's try Gamlord. Hopefully they're nice. Guys, the raid isn't working.
Are raids just not working in general?
I refuse because I said I wasn't going to fail a single raid this whole year. Remember how I said that?
You're 2 arcs ahead of me, Pirouette. Okay, Pirouette. Watch yourself. I'm catching up.
Are mods able to make a raid happen? Because it's not letting me.
Spammels. Red Potato says go to Spammels.
Spammels? Red Potato does say that. Guys, I'm doing the thing that does it. I'm doing the thing that makes a raid happen and they're not working.
That's hilarious.
No! How? Okay. Okay, what if I... Guys, now we're in the... Oh, just so I have it for the edit. And until next time, it's been lovely talking to you. All right, I don't know, that doesn't fit the tone of when I was saying goodbye, but I'm gonna have to find a different way to do this.
You became freaking Barry White, and until next time.
Look, it's harder to do it right when there's no like context to it. The raid has been created. It worked. I had to open Twitch. I had to leave Streamlabs, open Twitch, and do it.
We did it!
I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good one, and until next time, it's been lovely talking to you. There, the tone is right on that one. We got a good, clean one. All right, bye, everybody.
Drop on. Bye, guys. Bye so much.
I don't know what this is called.
We just rated these.
Okay, well, how about the thickness?
We're in.
The Drox Show. Holy smokes!
198 people.
Well, welcome on in, everybody. Hi there. Hi.
Okay.
Hang on, I was just restarting.